We're going to send you over to the big kahunas. We'll see you same bat time, same bat channel. Get it.
Ooh, a surprise lesson from Satay coming up tomorrow. Hopefully
No.
It was on Friday, I should say. Friday. On Friday. I think it's going to be a good one. It always
My guy over there was sending Canadian dollars. I like Canadian dollars.
I see that. Look, man, we're in when in Canada, do as.
Exactly.
I mean, obviously, I'm just going to throw it out there. You know, the Canadian dollar ain't what it used to be.
Canadian dollars,
I'm just saying,
right.
sometimes you gotta level it up a little bit if you're going to throw them Canadian dollars out there. Although,
when in Rome,
I don't know, what are we at right now?
When in Rome.
Who cares? I was actually going to check. I have no idea what the exchange rate. I haven't looked at it in a while. Let's be real.
135 or so. I looked at it all the time. Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, we're short the NASDAQ. We're short Snapchat still. We're long Nvidia. I mean, the only new position that we have on is the NASDAQ trade, and we've been tweeting that out and looking at it. We were actually, again, man, it was underneath the 200 period. We were buying it off VWAP, hoping for a VWAP bounce. When we lost on this trade, we said, let's go short. Well, I'll show you Google. We lost on Google. And then all of a sudden, we were like, let's just watch this go short, use the 200 period as our trigger stop the other way. Down goes the TQQs into 75.40. So right here, 70 handle winner as we speak, but could have reloaded it right there at 76. NASDAQ starting to go downside. This is the sad move here. We tried to defend 78 again. This is the level that we like. So, hey, you know, we'll talk about it. It worked early. It did not work late. Quickly in and out of this one. A lot of trades there on Google today, but it's giving back. You know, 'tis the season, I guess, but, you know, up 6%. Now back, giving half of that back right now. Google looking little ghoulish heading into Halloween here, I feel like right now.
It's looking human.
Yeah, it's looking.
It's still up 4%.
Looking somewhat human, yeah.
You know, it's like the Google was Alphabet was Superman last night. There were so many earnings names that were actually down as much as we're always excited to see what had happened in Tesla recently and then in Netflix. You know, most of the earnings names we're looking at were actually flush jobs. And speaking of flush jobs, you couldn't, look, whether you were, it doesn't matter what you were looking at this morning, SMCI was nasty. And it's still not looking very healthy here. So obviously we'll talk a little bit more about this, looking at some opportunities this afternoon. But SMCI, Ernst & Young, their auditor left. They left Dodge. And the stock absolutely flushed. Down 33%. There was a halt up. And it's now back underneath VWAP. So got to watch out for this name as well. It just made a bit of a bounce back into 33. That was the key support level. Actually trailed in the bounce of 33. I don't know if it has the juice to get up to VWAP, but I feel like if this thing gets to VWAP, it might just be another rollover situation. The only position I'm in is a new one in Intel. Like, it couldn't get to VWAP, but it was like an opening range, higher level support. When it lost it, go short. When it lost the same level again, go short. So it's just $22.50. Oddly enough, this stock with a 23 top and a 22.5 mid, wasn't worrying about VWAP there. But watch out for that SMCI. I feel like there might be another level to this still as they try to digest the negative news.
Just real quickly here, I do have a new position, so we're talking about doing this kind of stuff. So I'm short now. AMD just took out the low of the day. So, I mean, it's not really the low of the day, but, you know, we're short right here. This is the biggest P&L trade today on the show, unless there was one on the midday that I missed. But right there, 152.50, 152, breaker, down there, 250 in the money. Now we'll try the short again here into, again, the low of the day for AMD is still down here. Yeah, like there's 149 flat, 149 teens, but this is a decent break, I think, right into there, trying to get lower. We're just hovering. It's not like it's a great trade yet, but it is something. We're going to wait to see what happens here with advanced micro devices as I connect my Bluetooth. All right, Sharif, what else you got for us?
I'm going to welcome everybody, Sean. Welcome, guys, to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. Neil and Sean, they're ready, man. They're locked and loaded. They're ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. So join us during that midday show and get into the chat and vote for your favorite tickers, but only the top 5 make it on. Here we go. So down 0.5% right now on the NQ. The ES also negative, about 0.1, essentially flat. The Dow also flat, but more green than red. The Russ up about 0.5%. So these indices all taking a bit of a different direction. Today, no consensus there. But the first taker, as decided by you guys, GOOGL, no surprise there. Big earnings beat yesterday, beating on the top and bottom line, really showing revenue growth in a lot of areas, most specifically cloud. And you've got this bad boy up over 4%, but guys, off the highs.
We didn't get enough out of AMD, but we're getting some out now. Go ahead with Google, and I just got to watch this position here.
I just saw Jeff Kaufman in the chat just put SoFi, SoFly. I just said SoFi, so high. At some point, we're going to talk about SoFi, because when the market's down like this, you want to put a smile on your face somewhere. And they got rinsed on SoFi yesterday. When I say they, I just mean the stock price got rinsed, and it's making a nice bounce back. I do want to make sure we address that. Before we get into Alphabet, let's throw up to the man, the myth, the legend, the Raider.
Guys, I'm here. I'm no longer a myth. But as a reality, I am actually long a different trade as well. J&J, I just entered long here. J&J was a name that held very well during the after hours, or not the after hours, the midday hours. And we are starting to see it start to curl up. I mentioned to you guys this. When it comes to timing trades, you want to look at that 2 hours before close, because that's when the volume rush comes in. So I just took an entry on J&J right over 160 here. And I'm actually going to be long. Also looking into IWM. Again, this is to play the downfall of the dollar, but also TNX. I'm long IWM, long J&J, and Boeing, guys.
Yeah, we just got a volume spike there in a few names that I was looking at. The Nasdaq catching a little bit of a bit, but just back over to Alphabet. Look, it was trend up in the pre-market going into the open, so it came right back into pre-market lows, kind of retested those highs, and then you got easily the trend up. I kind of feel like this was one of those situations where, like Snapchat, it gave you the move you were looking for in the pre-market, and then on the way back in, it went to bamboozle. So I only was long, and again, if I sort of just left it in here, play long once, and then take the move, and when it fails the high, don't try again. You can't really make that rhyme, but I did try a couple more times and went red on Alphabet. I then got into the mean reversion trade, which, you know, if I look back at this one, there's the mean reversion trade. It's probably still valid when it made that VWAP fail and then trend down. There's the hold above. Ultimately, end up flatting both entries. I felt like I was fighting the grain and going against the trend, but you got to trust your setup sometimes. And that's actually still valid. I don't know if I can find a place to join this one again, because I think I got to get it down off the quarter level. But you're seeing a trend reversal on Alphabet here. Now, all is still well. I mean, the daily chart, I know it gave back a bunch of the move, but it was up, what, 6.5%, 7%, I think, at the best. And now we're up 4.25%. So it's really not that bad. You're still above prior highs on Alphabet, which was like this 174 level. As long as that holds on the next couple of days, you're still leg up on Google, headed for the 52-week high. So ultimately, yeah, you're giving a little bit back today, and maybe it was tricky. I know it was tricky for myself, but you can't hate on the reaction. It caught a bid before I'd wanted to catch a bid on the higher time frame. So all it has to do now is give a little bit of a consolidation, and I think we can look for another leg in. Yeah, we're starting to pick up steam to the upside. I have the last of my intel that I'm going to... Do I need to move the trail? No. I mean, I have my stop right in here. Like, look at that volume spike on Intel. That is a bit wild.
Yeah, the market started going a little bit right now. All right, so Google was... it's fallen out now, so we just sort of talked a little bit about that, but it was a #1 idea today for me, and we were able to make money on it early and then gave it back late. So again, was tough because it's really been down today. Like this, the trend is this way, and all these greens are buys. So it's like if I'm still in it, it's bad because it's near the lows. So we're out of it, thankfully. But at the same time, not bad. I mean, we had to wait for that. That was 940. Some of the volume started to die off a little bit. That's when we sort of started to lose the bid right now. So again, Google's expected return was 6%. Projected move, sorry, was 6%. We only got 4%. So yeah, I think we could kind of hover around. It wouldn't be surprising if we end the day near this 175 level. So that's something to look at right now for Google. Our AMD is starting to go back to the ups. Whoops. I was just going to talk about AMD goes all the way back there to the upside as the market's trying to retrace to VWAP. Time to be a little more patient. The 200 period is staring us in the face here of 150.15. So that might be the next little level there. But a try on the AMD short down 10%. Looks like it got that little bit of a bump back up there. So, all right, let's go over to Reddit. Maybe that's definitely not a name to short unless it is.
Monster move for Reddit, and it really held up after that big move, guys. Aftermarket, and then again at the open. Beautiful report yesterday. Q3 results, Q4 guidance, all above estimates. Daily active users continue to grow 17%. They're selling their data for use on large language models, generating new revenue that way. So good look right now, guys. Up 38%. I was watching this one during the midday at VWAP. It really kept holding it.
Reddit, eh?
Reddit is...
That's one thing, I mean, I didn't even really look at this.
I feel like the pun is it's r/profits. It's that simple. Just type it in. This is the best... Okay, well, it's one of the best IPOs. It's certainly the best recent one that isn't Kava. Although, maybe double check. I mean, certainly from those August lows, it's probably better than Kava from the August lows.
I don't think it's far away from that.
It has to be, and it's even if, regardless, they're both fantastic. Let's be real. But this move on earnings is just it's beyond anything that I think a lot of people could have imagined here on Reddit. I certainly did not see that coming. As a matter of fact, in my note, I was like, let's pull back into 95 because it's such a big move already. I think maybe filling in some of the gap and looking for that aftermarket support. And it just didn't matter. You ended up needing a breakout above $100. Look, it is holding on to VWAP. The other thing I would submit, because that's what Sharif says all the time, I submit to you that it's trying to break a trend, a bit of a downtrend into VWAP. So bit of a downtrend into VWAP. I kind of drew this on the 15 minutes, so it's not perfect on a 3-minute chart. It just kind of crosses. When I draw one on the 15, it automatically puts it on the 3. But it is holding above. I think a hold of this 113 to confirm trend, break out the top, and you can get a retest of the high. I'm not really thinking about VWAP on Reddit just yet. And then there was that spike in Intel. Now, someone in the chat actually said that there was a rumor circulating, and I saw the tweet. And look, I'm reading this because it's just something someone said on Twitter, and that was the volume spike, that Apple interested in buying Intel. Now, here's the thing. No. You think, Sharif, you never know? I cannot see any reasonable way that Apple would, why? Apple's acquisitions are always they make small acquisitions, very small acquisitions that have obvious synergies, and that is their modus operandi. Why would they all of a sudden go in and try to fix Intel's problem? That makes absolutely no sense. That said, I did go into VWAP in here. I'm going to look to reload underneath VWAP. I don't think that makes any sense, that story. Andrew?
Hey, gang. So that was outrageous. Okay, so we're looking at a few different trades. Real quick updates before I pass it over to you guys. I'm still in this KO. Again, we talk about that volume rush in 2 hours before. I'm still holding KO. I'm going to add on any high break, looking for that gap fill. I think is the ultimate target today. So a few pennies there. Additionally, Boeing. This one's still rallying to the upside. I still am in this one. Again, my eventual target today is maybe 158, but long term, since I did get Friday calls, is going to be 160. And the final trade, of course, J&J and IWM. J&J is still rallying here. I'm still long this one. And IWM, baby, let's go. Let's turn this market around. All right, passing it back to you guys.
I like the Home Depot, I like the J&J there, the IWM. Rader's been talking about IWM for a minute. Okay, so why don't we go back over there? I heard you guys talking about the election and the results and stuff like that and the forecast of the market. So we'll go talk about DJT and watch the price action. We mentioned that it would be a Wednesday, Thursday event. Checks watch, it's Wednesday. Sharif, what's up?
Bang on, Katina, man. Down 17%, a little bit off the lows. Was looking at this one during the midday. Again, no real catalyst today, but highly volatile ahead of the election. Speaking of those elections, what are these betting markets saying? Let's have a look at what Kalshi is up to at the moment. Kalshi betting that it's going to be a 62 to 38% right now odds for Trump. Poly market, not that much different, about 66.1 to 33.9 essentially. Not too far off, guys. So we'll keep an eye on these guys.
Oh, it's bleeding all right.
I mean, the thing is, we always have to look back and say, like, what is the point of the business, right? I mean, I guess it's that truth social, not in the Brazilian market, right there in the NASDAQ. So, you know, we had sort of got, you know, wind of what those results were. They were not great. Last time that, I think it was that 5 million number. Look, I talked about it. We had seen some levels there yesterday. We ran right into this $52, $55 level. We talked about those shorts. We talked about someone, you know, possibly getting something around that $57 mark. This name is going back to $15 or $16. I'm not even sure it really matters who wins. I mean, we can actually go to Andrew. Andrew, why don't you give us a little bit of a look here on what the options look like? Like, what would we have to, if I thought this name was going back to $20, what is there, like, within the next month or so? What would be the best option maybe to look at there? Because, you know, if we think it's going to go to 30, you know, you pay that premium to get it to 30. I wonder about a dramatic pushback into the 50-period moving average because, hey, it only took like 15 or 12 trading days to make this move. So we can think that 2 weeks from now, how dramatic this name could be. So we'll wait for it. And look, I apologize if you guys are long or anything like that. I'm just giving an opinion there that if the polls looked, I mean, I've never seen a number. That's the first time I saw 66 anywhere. Yeah. So like, if that number is anywhere near what those results might look like on November 5th, then and we're playing the stock for a win, then it shouldn't be down 20%. So you either like this play here to go long now, or you're just hoping to get out at the best possible move, which might be a bump back up, and you've already had that bump. We were down to 39 or something today, right? And so, you know, I just got back to 43. I think you should maybe think about trimming positions if you're long, not financial advice.
Financial advice.
So, yeah, I can go talk to you. Andrew, did you have, I mean, I know you and I have talked about this when you've been on our recap show and you've been on various shows with us, obviously. This is not up your sort of creek here, is it? Like, this is not something that you're normally trading, these sort of wild runners. You're more of a ETF kind of Boeing kind of guy.
So Boeing, I'm long. I don't know if you wanted me to answer that DJT, but as far as the DJT, the best option for that is, well, no option. Yep. All right. There we go. Yep, back to me. So the best option with DJT, so if you want to pull up my chart real quick. A lot of you guys need to understand implied volatility. In fact, Sharif kind of talked about this when he was talking about the Greeks. Implied volatility is the killer of all contracts. Even if you do buy a call, and even if you are correct, and this does start to rally, the market makers are going to require more of a move for you to make the same amount as you were before. So a $10 move down here might pay 1,000%, but a $10 move up here might only pay 100%. So that's what you guys have to look for. Again, risk to reward. It's so important when determining what tickers to trade. When trades get crowded like this, I stay away. That's my opinion.
100%. Great answer, Andrew. And look, we're going to find out. It's going to be wild action, no questions asked on Tuesday and obviously Wednesday. Now here we're able to trade and take risk because you're trading firm capital, and that makes it a lot easier to trade some names like this. 18% to the downside DJT, 30% down on SMCI, volatility out the wazoo. But Trade the Pool allows traders like you to get evaluated and trade real shares using the company's capital with no PDT rule holding you back. That's a real edge in trading. Here's the exciting part. Trade the Pool has just launched a limited edition program for stock traders. For a one-time fee of just $97, you'll receive $20,000 in buying power. All you need to do is reach the profit goal. Best part? This limited edition program now has a reduced profit goal and fewer minimum trades required to reach the funded phase. Plus, the profit split's upgraded. Keep 70% of the profits. Don't miss your chance to explore this limited offer. Join now for free. Link is in the description of this video, and you can scan that QR code below. Shout out to Trade the Pool. And speaking of trading, a little bit of an update. We were just talking about volatile symbols, of which DJT is one of them. Now, it's not all ones to the downside. It's not only stocks that are down 25, 30%. Hey, Reddit's up 40% today. 40% Reddit, you've got to be kidding me. First of all, that's ridiculous, but it did break trend. Now, I did draw this, and I love Pete Perwait for doing this for me. I didn't draw this on a 3-minute chart. I drew this on a 15-minute chart, so this is the close above trend line on the 15-minute, play to prior high 114 first. Then we look for 115, 116. So I'm in at 113.5, just got some out in front of 114, and we'll see if this can get back to the high of the day. For every stock, for every time there's a bunch of stocks going down, the futures trend down, there is always something riding high. Right now, Reddit is one of those few names that is super strong. Also go SoFi.
Eli Lilly, a big earnings miss this morning, dropping quite aggressively, well off the lows, still negative about 8.5%. This story was a profitability miss. They guided far higher than they were able to print on EPS, earnings per share. 1610 to 1660 was what they guided last quarter. 1302, 1352 is the print. Now, here's the issue. They had supply chain issues, so they weren't really able to see their full profitability in the quarter. Also, they had a one-off charge that occurred in Q3, which will not occur in Q4. This one could be on sale, guys.
Oh, it
Not occur.
It was already on sale, and we've talked about the SSR bounce.
It was a red light special.
It was more than a red light
this morning
special.
there.
That
It was
was
like you got this, you got the discount there at the.
that was a discount double check for Eli Lilly.
But you had to be quick. You had to be
Had
quick.
to be super quick.
That's tomorrow night. Aaron Rodgers, New York Jets.
They're gonna lose. I
They
don't know
are
who
playing
play.
the Houston
Oh, they're gonna lose.
Texans.
Oh, they're gonna lose.
And possibly,
They're gonna lose.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's no Nico Collins, Stephon
Oh, no,
Diggs.
Diggs is gone too.
Toward the ACL. So it's a Tank Dell kind of a world, and we're all
Okay, you
living
might be right. I forgot they're missing their top two.
The Jets
wide
are
receivers.
favored, believe it or not,
It's probably in New York also.
in the gambling markets.
Well, they need all the best they can get in New York
Yep.
because the Yankees are about to lose. But Eli Lilly, like, to be honest, I was on the wrong SSR bounce stock today because I was looking at AMD instead of Eli Lilly. So AMD went SSR, it bounced off 150, it went to 151. But Eli Lilly came into a level that is, like, look at this daily chart. That August bottom, 765. So I mean, a $700 stock, I mean, like, think about it like every $5, but it comes down in here, and then once it gets close at the open, it breaks the 770 by like a smidgen, low at 79, and then the retracement back up. And it just kept going. Now, whatever, like, I'd probably be here to VWAP because that's how I roll. And then the continuation was just unbelievable. The names that have this, if a stock has an upward trend like this, and it goes 10% down, those are the ones. Because you inherently know there's already been deep dip buyers that love the thing that usually pick it back up. So when you get an opportunity like that for that kind of a mean reversion trade, Lilly probably should have been at the top of the radar. I don't really have much of an excuse for it. It's the setup I like. This one really did set up in terms of giving you what you needed in terms of expectation. And we'll have to see how it settles now. The 200-period moving average has been reclaimed. And if it can hold on to that the next couple of days, maybe make a base off this 820 area, this could become tradable. Would be nice if they would do it, if they'd get a split done, because I think a lot of people are waiting for that. So again, it was a great trade off the SSR bounce, just didn't have it.
I feel like I hear a phone ringing or something.
I heard that too.
But you know what? Today, you can see the way this man's dressed. I don't know if he's dressed for the club, but this is a $1, a $2, a $3 club winner right now on Nvidia. We've been holding this, but look what I just drew this little line. We hit here, we hit it again, we hit it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times the charm. I don't know, but we are still long Nvidia right down here at 137 up to 140. Look, Eli Lilly, I really like the stock. We talked about the GLP-1s. We talked about what kind of a run it's been on. But as Neil pointed out, it just fell right back into the 200-period moving average today. The sucky part about it is this is August, so you're going to give back the last 2 months. So next time you see tops like this, I don't care what the stock is, these are tops. So you got to watch out for that. And oh no, here it comes again. We're going to give some props up because there goes AMD. AMD flushing downside right now. We are short on AMD again. So did we get stopped out? Yes, we did. But we got right back in. And again, we just tried to stay short the weaker names. And here it comes right back in. It's AMD. We've got a decent size on this one as well, as the futures got some out as this fell back through. So Eli Lilly, look, I think it's a dip buy at 780. If it gets down there again, even try your luck at 800. You know, the drug is changing the landscape, basically. So it's just a matter of time before we even get even get more uses out of it, and to the point where I don't know the cost is really going to matter. But again, they'll get that figured out. With more production for Eli Lilly coming on board, they'll be able to, there's a little note here about Iran and Israel, but we'll wait to see if the market's going to reflect anything there. So right now, Eli Lilly down 8%. It's Tesla's world, and we all live in it.
Really? Tesla today?
Mo, Mr. Raider Trader would like to come in here. What's up, Raider?
So I am definitely dressed for the club of rich hedge fund managers. But anyway, so what we're doing is we're talking about the dollar. So this one right here, this is one I'm going to watch. With it coming down to the low and consolidating, is today going to be the day it breaks this low here? I'm not sure. But once it does flush this low, it is going to cause a big shift in a lot of the names, specifically commodities. The one I'm watching being SLV. This one we talk about a lot on the show, but I believe SLV will be a more consistent outperformer over the next 6 to 8 months. Why? Gold typically is the better ticker during stagflation. We do not currently have stagflation. So I'm going to continue to long SLV. I think there's a better risk to reward, even if gold does continue to the upside. I believe SLV will see more plentiful gains.
Look, I like what's going on in silver, no questions asked. It's been people will always say it's a manipulated market, but when it starts breaking out and making that fall, I think it looks fantastic. On that note, I know Sean you just mentioned there was a headline with regards to Iran. There was a bit of a spike here in oil futures off of VWAP, not a huge one, but a decent spike there on. Nothing crazy, but you are getting a little bit of a bump up there in oil, so it might be worth watching that. See if we get any further headlines. Let's go back and get into some Tesla.
Yeah.
No real big catalyst today, guys, on Tesla, but there's a couple of tidbits over here. Tesla likely to start delivering Cybertrucks in Canada in November. Tell that to Fabian. He's already seeing them on the street, matte black and all. So they're already on the streets of Toronto. Separately, Polestar looking at getting in on what Ford and some others have already done. They want to expand their user base to be able to actually access the 850,000 supercharging stations put out by Tesla, guys. So expanding that network. No real headlines today, though, for Tesla.
I mean, Polestar's chart looks terrible. Tesla's got a nice bull flag going. Well, only because you mentioned Polestar, I pulled it up, and that yucky taste in your mouth when you look at EV stocks that are not Tesla and look at those charts. But yeah, nice bull flag on Tesla. I mean, didn't trade it today, but I guess at the open, if you're, there's 255. Kind of drew that after that first ramp job day, and then you held the bottom at 55, and now all of a sudden, it's kind of holding a 56 support underneath there. That looks like a good supply zone now for Tesla. You've made the break on earnings. You've had the test of that local high 270, and then now you've got the consolidation. It's made a bottom at that 255 level, so it looks pretty good to me here on Tesla. I don't know whether we're going to get the market strong enough to sustain us breaking out of this top here. I think you've got room if we can take out that top here on Tesla, but the more important thing is you've now made what it seems to be a double bottom after that first initial earnings pullback. Now you want higher lows going to be retest that high. So I think Tesla's kind of back in the good graces so far today. Strong relative to the market. A few days after earnings, it's made a support level and held that support level the next day. It's holding a higher low today. Now, barring it doing some kind of a nasty reversal into the close here, obviously that's still possible and could happen. I do like what I'm seeing on Tesla.
Yeah, I mean, look, the only EV car company that's able to make some money. We like Tesla. We had a great report from Tesla. We bounced off that 210. I mean, you guys want to talk about it today. I think Neil nailed it. It's up 0.9%. The market is down. It's relatively strong. But we just showed you Eli Lilly's chart where we were up here and fell back in. We were up here and fell back in. We're up here. I don't know if we're going to fall back in this time. I mean, they gave us what we wanted. Good talk, good sales numbers. The robo-taxi is going to be hopefully ahead of schedule. We just saw Google basically ignore Waymo. Waymo brought in $30 million of revenue. $30 million. Do you know how Google's quarter was $90 billion or something in revenue. So Waymo is not really a concern right there. I feel like they could IPO it or sell it or whatever all that data is that they've developed over there. I don't think Tesla worries about that. But today, I mean, I would say VWAP if you can get it. That is a great trade down here at 260.50. If Tesla can fall into these levels, for me, it's a buy. So that's almost a no-brainer buy down there today. Better than the market, above VWAP. into support, that's like the trifecta of reasons to go in there and buy. So again, you know, I can ask Andrew. Andrew, so I know around here in Toronto, we have Teslas, a lot of Teslas.
Everywhere.
Yep.
Almost like 1 out of every
There's too many of them.
7.8 cars. What's it like in your neighborhood there in, I don't know which part of Ohio you live, but any Teslas? What's the story over there in Ohio?
We are a cold winter state, so typically there's not too many Teslas because, well, who wants to charge things in the winter like that? But Mustang users with 9 miles per gallon is a dime a dozen, so.
Okay, so you guys are still all about chugging
might that
along
be?
that oil and gas. Yeah, I don't know if you know, we are actually a very cold place here as well.
A little bit. We're a little bit further
and
north.
Yeah,
Not as much as you would think. I think a lot of people get that misconception. A lot of the northern states we're in southern Canada, so it's really not that.
I'm just going to keep asking Andrew questions. Like the next question for Andrew would be, is there an EV company right now that is possibly setting up on the chart? We have Polestar up
For
there.
a short, maybe.
We talked, well, whatever. We have Rivian, even GM or Ford. Andrew, is there any names right now that has hopped on any of your radars? You see what I did there?
So me being a trader, I like to keep things on my radar. And what I like to look at specifically with a lot of the EV companies, Tesla has been one that, again, I said I added to my more longer-term portfolio, and if you want to whip out my chart here. But this is, again, a very crowded trade. This is going to be a longer-term play. You're not going to see as much activity maybe into the next few weeks, but this is a name that I am bullish on. But also Rivian. Rivian does match that kind of IPO theme that I've been talking about recently, that when you get into an IPO like this, you have this initial fund where you have the funding phase, if you will. But then once they start to base down here, this is the period where they really get their stuff together. And if they are able to prove themselves, then you often get that big pump up. A great example of this was Coinbase, ticker COUN coin. You guys all know this. That initially, once they IPO'd, they dropped. They had this kind of 2-year period where they were able to get their stuff together, and that's where they are at today. And if they continue to prove that they are profitable, that they are doing what they say they will eventually get to above their IPO high. That's kind of the IPO rule that I've been following along with my mentors over the last few years.
I'm definitely feeling that Rivian, but you've got to let it make those bases, right? And so when I promised we'd go over Polestar. Polestar is going to be a penny stock. If you like penny stocks, just give it a couple of days, it looks like. Down 8% today, only because of that story. Look, this is the wrong thing. I've talked about this one setup where if you find a stock that's making a bullish breakout, but just did a death cross, then you flash a technical signal for a lot of people to go short, and then it goes long. Well, in this particular case, Polestar just had the golden cross and might flat bottom break. So that's an entry. Anybody that's buying dips in this stock, you get the golden cross in here. It's like a long over one. This goes back underneath the buck. I think that it wouldn't be unrealistic that you see somewhere in the penny. I mean, 60 cents is the low down there. They had an 80-cent level, but it's about to flat bottom break. $1.14 I have is that local low for Polestar. Reddit just made it to 115, so Reddit is, we always try to dwell on what's moving today, and I know it felt like everything was falling in. We had a super chat I wanted to get to. There it is. Arif, your talk about Reddit is like music to your ears yesterday. You had longs for March next year, which you bought yesterday because of this channel. Shout out to you and good luck on those longs. Reddit up 40.5%. So it broke trend. We got some out in front of 114 and then the 114.5. It's on the charge to 115 here. High of the day is 116. Once it breaks away from the 115 level, I want to slap a trail on it, playing this into 116. Like I said, 41%. It's probably a little bit overdone to be chasing high of the day breaks. I think that's a little bit much on Reddit. What's crazy about this is, look, Reddit is not some GameStop with a 38% short float. Not that GameStop has a 38% short float anymore. It's only 9% short. I'm going to wager that there's more people that are shorted today. But I'm glad, and what is this is important, I'm glad that I didn't use my locates today. Because my first thought was, oh, but look at this. We should mean revert the you-know-what out of this. And technically speaking, it would have worked. Because if you slap a trend line on it like that, like from this line of best fit to this line here, and then short it when it closed underneath, it would have worked. But I promise you this. even if I have that one, I for sure would have had it earlier too. Like I would have been shorting it in here somewhere as well. And just because you pay for locates does not mean that you have to use them. That's an important thing. There's something like the sunk cost theory is an important thing to keep in mind. Just because you have the ability to do something doesn't mean you go out there and look for shorts to take, right? And I think we had a trader on the show that wouldn't do it because he wouldn't pay for shorts because he felt like, oh, he'd force himself to use them. If that's your way to go, fine. Or just have the discipline to realize it's too strong and not setting up for you. So we just busted the 115. I'm going to slap my trail back underneath when it breaks this recent trend from the 114 level on Reddit. I'm still thinking this stock is a little bit too much today. So once it gets back underneath trend line, I'm going to jump out. I see Randy is holding up some charts here.
We were just, here, take the mic. We were just talking about Polestar, so we haven't had a word with you on PSNY lately, and I know that you're sort of, and by the way, Reddit, you and I actually, we talked about that, that's up 40% today at all-time highs and up 3 times its IPO price. You could have only made 300%, Randy, not bad.
Only.
But this is what Polestar looks like right now. It's threatening to break $1 again. And I talk about Reddit because I know that you're in some groups, some car groups and whatnot.
Fairly regularly.
Is there any talk about Polestar or anything?
I've not seen anything Polestar news lately. Again, new models in the works. They're trying to get around the whole tariffs thing.
Yeah.
Isn't everybody? I mean, tariffs are company killers in more ways than one.
Yep.
So everybody's trying to find momentum to get around tariffs, especially in China and elsewhere. So, I mean, it's given time. Polestar's kind of invisible here and there. There's a few on the road, but you know, not that many. Great looking cars. I love them. Cool stuff.
Ramin says put the mic closer, but I looked at the mic. It's like you're almost eating the mic.
That's what I'm saying. It's inhale the mic.
I don't.
What is that? Am I too quiet? Ram?
If he inhales the mic, they're going to cancel us on YouTube.
Like
okay?
that?
Don't look at all.
I'm completely.
No,
Like that?
What are we
Like
doing
that?
here?
Like that? Like that?
No, don't worry about it. We're not. You're not.
I feel, especially after today, we need some sort of training.
Mic training.
We need to invest in media training. No, like not
I
all
need
of
to
us.
invest in media training.
My mic is not right. My mic is. Ramin, stay out of this. I'm trying to. Ramin's like, I'm training you guys every day, basically. So I have to. And Ramin does a great job of that. Do we pay you, or is that shirt true?
Hold on a second.
I want to know.
Baby needs to get on camera right now.
Nice.
As far as
I
I'm
know.
concerned, now you can't get a check anymore.
Volunteer. There we go. I like that shirt. Is it what's on the back of that? Is that from a concert or get doing? I like that. I like that shirt.
That's how you sneak into
Sometimes I
concerts.
trade the mark and I feel like I'm a volunteer.
You just look like you're
as well.
working there. It's a good place
Yeah.
to be. Like sneaking into a club, like back in the day, like you got to know how to dress, right black shoes, whatnot. You could sneak in the back entrance like you're giving delivery or like the service person, or you were just taking a break.
Sneaky were you?
Not that anybody, look, not that I've ever done anything like that or would I do that or
Right.
suggest that anybody else do. I'm just saying
Right.
there's always ways to hack in the world. It's true. It's true. These things work.
Someone, my CBD coach just said this is better than Howard Stern. Well, we are working on a deal with Sirius Satellite Radio. No,
There we go.
I wish we were. Oh, Randy,
Yo.
we did get a bunch of super chats. So now we have committed you. I don't know if you know this, to some sort of an automotive segment of some sort.
Oh boy.
So
pressure.
what is? Are you in next week? Can we think about a day next week where maybe?
No, well, I've got a day. It almost has to be. We're gonna get Rivian after the bell on the 7th.
Yeah,
So
it's Thursday. No,
that's
That's a day. That's a week. Yes, Thursday.
Thursday. Yep, good.
So that would mean we'd probably want you Friday.
No, Friday's gone. Told you.
See, I mean, come on, man.
Okay, pre-earnings Rivian
We'll do a
Thursday.
pre-earnings
Right,
Rivian.
okay, we'll do.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Thursday at some point during the day, which we will schedule, Randy
Ish.
ish. Are you out of here soon?
Shortly.
All right, safe
travels,
trips home. Did you ask if I wanted a peach tea? Because that'd be great if you could.
Oh, you're
you
getting
could grab one of those. I wasn't
Is it
sure.
tea
I thought-
time?
I couldn't hear something in my ear there.
Everybody wants
I would
tea.
love tea.
I mean, if you happen to be going, I will not.
What flavor
object
do you
to,
want?
Peppermint. I like peppermint.
Peppermint is good.
Yeah.
We had pistachio. I went on a date night last night with the two loves of my life, female edition there with my son's at an
I
awakening.
was gonna say, I'm like,
So he wasn't there. So
Aaron couldn't roll.
we went to Italy, and it was really good. and we all had a pasta dish, and it was really, I actually tweeted it out.
Shout out to Marissa, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. And now I completely forget what I was going to say. So, all right. Oh, we had gelato. And that's, ever since we went to Rome, you're going very soon. So every time is gelato time in Rome. So get ready for that. And then the other thing was now pistachio. So I've got her, my 10-year-old is now a pistachio maniac. So she loves that. And so that's what we both got. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. Pistachio gelato. Mr. Raider Trader, you have a preference of ice cream and or gelato?
Moose tracks? Moose?
Yep.
Bear tracks? Deer tracks?
Okay.
What are you even talking about right now?
Take him off.
You
Something's
said
happening.
ice cream.
Huh? That's ice cream?
Yeah, but like normal people. Okay, like
But
normal
people.
no, there is bear
Rum and
tracks. He's
raisin.
right. There is that.
I'm just, okay.
It's like a mix.
Are we just talking about like vanilla? Like what?
Favorite ice cream? I'm accepting that.
You know, okay. Let me lay out the flavors for you. Chocolate has to have chocolate. I'm not a vanilla guy. Chocolate with the Reese's cups.
Ooh.
Or some sort of cookie dough.
See, now we're talking.
Okay.
Now we're talking. Now
That's called moose tracks in Ohio. But you know,
That's good. I'm glad. I mean,
wait, we don't even have moose in Ohio. How do you guys not know that?
First of all,
Don't you have moose in Canada? Aren't there moose here?
No, none at all.
What?
My knowledge of
first of all, if you see one, don't mess around with a moose, bro. Those
yeah,
things.
we have moose, man, and we have tons of moose.
They
We used to have these moose,
don't play.
like, I don't know if you've seen them. Remember how fun that was, those big, huge ones that they had? They built them, they put them like on every corner, and it was really cool. There was like a maple leaf moose. What's your favorite sport there, Andrew?
I'm a soccer guy. I've always been a soccer guy. I watch Premier League soccer a lot. As far as Ohio State sport, I love college football. Right. I'm not a big football guy myself, but I got to say the passion in college football is not even close to the NFL. It's like people play way harder in college, and that's what I like to see. So, yeah.
I'm with you on that one.
That's about to change.
And Big Ten fans are absolutely.
They're always the closest games. NFL, you know, they show up. Why would you work hard when you make $30 million a year? You know,
That's true.
It's like.
But these kids are now making millions a year as well.
That's true. Yeah.
From NIL. But
They still ball out, man.
no, they do. They have to, right? It's actually a weird system the way that all works.
But yeah, you know, I'll sell some shares of Ohio later on, and maybe they'll change the sport.
So the whole gelato thing, that's not
gelato. I don't even know what gelato is.
I knew that. Okay, yeah. Let's see ya. Okay, we'll get.
I'm going to be eating so much. I'm going to be eating so much pasta and oh my! I cannot wait to look. Obviously, I'll miss the markets a little bit because I know it's a fun time to trade. But in a couple of weeks, I'm going to Rome and I'm going to absolutely love it. Shout out to Marissa because my daughter. It's interesting for travel. Like we always do like Airbnbs, right? So like the idea is she knows like what the place we're looking at. We'll show pictures before we go. Mm-hmm. So the fact that we're traveling, she's like, what does the place look like that we're going to? I'm like, I don't know. Does it matter? And she's like, I need to know. I'm like, okay, fine. But so I asked Sean. I knew Sean had gone as well. So the same condo. And we'll be staying in, and so Marissa sent the pictures, so now my daughter can have an idea where it is we're going. I don't know why it matters so much, but sometimes you just got to make the little one.
It's more interesting. I probably she just wants to see what's going on.
Yeah, it's different, and it looks gorgeous. I can't wait. I'm hoping the weather's going to be good. I just don't want it to be raining, which is all I need.
It's supposed to be raining?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, you're not going for a while, right?
It's a couple weeks.
Oh.
Here's the thing. I try not to look too much except for when I'm packing, like before, because I don't want to get it in my head. Who cares? I can't change the weather. I'm going anyways.
Oh.
But a couple of things here.
Back to trading, because I forgot to talk about Snapchat.
Yeah, let's go to 1320 Wolf. I'll give you an update on my leg. It's actually doing very well. But I did jump out of Reddit at 116 because that was the high. That was the plan. It was play to here, play to here, play to here. And if it breaks the high of the day, congratulations to Reddit. I'm not shorting it. I've paid for locates. I'm not thinking about short, but I am kind of thinking 42% is enough. So we played the trend reversal break, 113.5, stop at 113, and then just took the last out there, $2.50. Reddit is a monster. It's crazy to me that it could even run this high of the day and continue at this point. Let's go over to Adara at the desk.
Keep an eye here on TTWO. This is Take Two Interactive. Some nice continuation on this one. Getting a volume push to the upside. It's two largest volume candles of the day by far. We have Business Insider reporting that the company is set to sell its chart boost ad tech division. So TTWO reportedly in talks to sell one of its divisions, getting a bit of a volume spike to the upside. Let's see if it lasts, guys.
incredibly convenient time to have good news on the stock. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Well, electronic
7,
arts just
8,
reported.
9, 10, 11, 12 consecutive red candles on a 15-minute chart, and then you get that news. Oh, man, every now and then. Every now and then. I mean, come on. And look at the downward trend here, too. Like, okay, and the volume spike, oh, come on. And the volume spike comes after the trend break. So there's your line of best fit. There is the, so it just broke the trend from VWAP here. And then next bar, not the first bar, the bar after is when the news comes. So this is your trend reversal entry on like a simple reversion strategy there. And then once you're in the trade, oh yeah, there's some good news for you to be able to take you into VWAP. It must be nice. Usually you have to just take that trade and hope it gets a mean reversion on its own merits. But yeah, TTW, I haven't looked at this on the daily. I guess kind of in no man's land after a recent breakout there for TTW. But I just find that kind of funny. That's a bit of a bailout there, I think. Timing of that news.
All right. Just real quickly, just to talk about some of the positions that we have currently. So AMD, I'm like taking pieces out here, but I'm trying to take out like 5%, if that, at a time here. Like I don't want to get too cute with it, but like we've only had a couple drops, and as far as we've gotten we're 40s right there. So not a whole heck of a lot there on AMD happening right now. I mean, it's pretty barcoded considering the moves that we'd had today. This was a great short off the open for AMD, and quite frankly, I mean, we got out at the bottom there of AMD earlier on, and that was the end of that one. And then we accidentally went a little bit long, which I wish we would have held, but you get out right away when that happens. So that's what we're doing to the downside right there. And then we did have a little bit of this one, a little bit of a reloaded. I'm reloaded! And I did forget to mention it because we were just going back and forth there having a good time. This was it right here. We reloaded there at 82s or something like that. And then we got some out at 72s, and now it bounced back up. I was hoping for the 50 period retracement. And then,
no end
unfortunately, again, no end then. And then I was hoping that the TQs would eventually break the 50 period. It does not look to do that here on the futures. So yeah, right now this is what we're doing. It's been a pretty good trade. Thank you, Randy, for that. Yes. My favorite tea, and some peppermint tea there for Neil. So thank you, Randy, for all of that. Again, safe trip on your way back in there. This is just the futures here. We're trying to watch out for that. You've been a fan of XOM, of course. As we wait for the charts. Yeah, wow, it started off with a nice little movement to the upside there, up to 118, now falling back into 117. But XOM on the daily, Randy. Trying to break a little lower.
But you know who wants to drill, baby, drill. They got all that oil in.
Yeah.
Will he win?
Is that better? Less turmoil in the Middle East so far. Lots of capacity.
We are getting really great teachings today.
Interesting news out of the Trans Mountain pipeline? Tripling output exports to the U.S. Last month. Tripling. So all you Americans are using our oil, but that's okay.
Fine.
Good stuff.
We're trying to sell it.
Refinery capacities are up. Winter season cutovers are almost done. So good things on the horizon, I think.
Okay. Pick up some XOM. I like that dividend down there, 3-4%. Always a nice one. Okay, we're slipping up a little bit here on AMD, trying to go to the downside right now. So we'll take another bid on AMD. Hey, it's only 35 cents, but it's what we have right now, and it's moving. So good for that one. Snapchat not doing anything, and then futures are what they are. As far as Nvidia, guys, I'm going to use its 200 period, 139.81. So let's put that in right now, 139.74. We'll play that. I like playing the 75 breaks. So we got that question before. Where generally do we put our stops, or if we have any special numbers or anything like that. But right there for Nvidia, nice little takeout there. We're $3 in the money. You can't see my long because it's a baby position that we hold from the morning. We actually, got it out up there for a victory dance on Nvidia. But we'll wait for a little bit more. Yeah.
I see Spiral Namikaze.
Yeah, more questions.
I didn't even look at this. I haven't looked at Apple today. I mean, obviously, it was an AMD morning, and SMCI stole the show, and then Alphabet in there, so it's been focused on the chips, and then you had Reddit going crazy. So Apple got lost, but the question is Apple along at 230? It's it's difficult to answer that question when it's already bounced and made a reversion off of 230. So the answer is clear. I mean, look, yes, because if you look at the day-long trend down, which, I mean, it doesn't even matter at this particular point. Like, it already broke the day-long trend down multiple times. So it did it here and held 31. Then you had this rollover trend when it broke this consolidation low and it busted through that one at 30. So if you're looking at this breakdown here, that essentially broke trend and held exactly at 230 bucks. So yeah, but it's already consolidating higher and still, I mean, it's underneath VWAP. I think you need to already be in that trade. Like, to me, that trade sets up in here somewhere or in here with a stop just underneath that 30, if not that low of the day. And on the higher time frame, I mean, Apple, the 50 period has been the way to go recently. The last couple of pullbacks have held on to it. Right now, that's underneath the 230 level. On the daily chart, it looks to me like this pullback from that high hasn't really settled yet. You're still sort of diddling in the middle. You have a trend down day. I think for today, yeah, the 30 was where the trend abated, but you got to look for that 50 period until proven otherwise on Apple. I mean, Apple's down 1 1/4 when the market's only a third, and the ES is only 0.9. Do I think you should be looking for dip buys in Apple? Absolutely. Do I think Alphabet's going to be fine? Absolutely. Amazon? Absolutely. I just think you have to be patient sometimes when things are falling down. As I say that, Amazon never actually broke that low.
Oh, no?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I could still be in Amazon. I look back at it. When the market traded back in, you make some assumptions. It's like, oh, yeah, Amazon probably gave it up. But this is another example of a Mag 7 name, and we don't get their earnings tonight. It's Meta and Microsoft. You get Amazon and Apple on Thursday. But Amazon's another one that tried to break out on the daily, failed break temporarily, but it's still all good because it's holding consolidation in. And just for an idea of why was I in it here, it was pretty simple. It kind of broke this trend and then also broke the trend here and then into VWAP. And it trailed out underneath VWAP, but it actually should have been a reload down here at 193. I like this 193 level on Amazon. What I also like about Amazon, it's almost at VWAP. If this can get above VWAP, this might be a nice little play into the close here as this market is doing its best. The ES is trying to go green, the NASDAQ as well. ES will probably get there first. But suddenly, Amazon doesn't look so bad at all. Could get above VWAP. 45%? Really?
Yeah, we're just hearing in our ear about Reddit.
Yeah, 45. For what? Oh, come on, 43.5%.
Wow.
Our news service is getting way ahead of themselves. It's not going to be at 45% for another 5 minutes probably on Reddit. This stock is absolutely insane. It just, maybe don't short it. That's the best advice I can give, because I just told you guys I didn't think it was going to break through the high of the day. I actually thought we'd be playing another dip, maybe even the 115. At this point, Reddit seems to want 120. And Reddit is a rocket ship. There's nothing else you can say about this. That's what happens when you pull a surprise profit and you got 10% short and you have a stock that was grinding the shorts before this. Like, it was putting the shorts to the test going into earnings, and then they turn a surprise profit. This is what you get. You get some people that are not having a very good Wednesday, but the longs are winning, and that's what we like to see.
All right. Look, I like all of that kind of a talk right now. I mean, the market is a little bit high for us. We've been getting out of some AMD again at these lows. I would like for this to move around. Give me another name. Let's go. Let's fight. All right, so right now, tonight, let's look at what we're going through tonight, man. Oh, my. You know we have MSTR tonight, apparently, so
yes,
that's going to be coming through. So as you watch out for Bitcoin and you watch out for some of these moves happening daily, watch out for MSTR eventually, I would say.
Starbucks.
Going to be, yeah, I mean, I have it right here. Riot, Meta, Riot and MSTR. Meta today takes out all-time highs as well. So get ready. And I said to Marie in the chat that I would hit the siren every time Raider Trader's coming on. So I'm going to hit the siren right now. Raider, in your opinion, we're going to have Meta and Microsoft tonight. So both Meta and Microsoft. Is there a chart that you're thinking is a better long rate here, maybe a better setup heading into earnings? I mean, for me, right here, I'll just show you Meta, guys, taking out all-time highs today and above 600. Microsoft looks much different as we hover in and around that 200 period, if and when it loads. Well, now we're above it, but we've just been there in that 50 period, as you can see, nowhere near. So here we go, Marie, all. We're going to call on Andrew and see what he thinks right now about Meta and or Microsoft. No problem. We're going to go to Raider Trader. Yep.
Okay, guys. So as far as between Meta and Microsoft, here's my honest opinion on it. If I were to do a spread on either one, which means buy the call, buy the put, straddle, if you will, I would actually choose Meta. I think this one has the more potential to move. Microsoft, not so much. But I am going to be looking at Meta. Now, specifically, I also have another name. While you guys are talking a lot about Reddit, one of the other ideas that is similar, very similar to Reddit, is actually CART, C-A-R-T, CART. This one is a similar IPO. It goes along the theme of what we've been talking about in this October seasonal bottom. But this right here, we are around 2 weeks away from earnings. That's on the 12th, I think. And so you should see what I believe to be an earnings run-up. And if you do go in the profit, cut those, make it free, hold it through earnings. I think this one to the upside.
It's got that same look there, great look and great comparison there. For Maple Bear, every single time we talk about Instacart, I have to say Maple Bear because it's like nobody knows it as that, and yet that's who they are. But yeah, this sets up really, really, really well. I like that. But we've got, in terms of earnings, actually, you know what? Kling Daddy made a good point. So sometimes we get exuberant. I want to get to Coinbase and Riot in a second, but sometimes we get exuberant. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at Reddit. It's going to get to $120, and we wax poetic about stuff like this. However, when you look at it from a technical standpoint, like this rounded bottom into VWAP where we just had it hold trend, that's 114 into 112, rounds into 114, $3 consolidation, $3 break up, 117 technically would be like if you're taking that 114 break late or the consolidation, like 117 made sense. I played it off 13, so went to 16. But really, from a technical standpoint, like Michael Loss will probably tell you that's going to 117. Does it pull back to VWAP? I don't know. If I was confident that this reversion was pulling back into VWAP, I'd be short this thing. I would have held my long if I thought it was going to $120. It's just flying, and all expectations are gone. But when it comes to earnings, we always talk about like where is the biggest move going to be, you know? And a lot of times it's not an easy thing to guess. The expected move is going to give us some help. Like you've got a big one, like Roku is actually, I think Roku's the biggest. Maybe people don't care as much about Roku. It's like a 15% expected move over there on Roku. But there is one that's under double digits that I feel like that's underselling what the move will be, and that's MSTR. Like 9% expected move for MicroStrategy. Yeah. After the run we've had on Bitcoin, after the run that this thing has been on, let me try to pull up a weekly chart of MicroStrategy. Like this is the weekly chart of MSTR. Like it just made a clean 100 to then 200 break and chilling at 250. You mean to tell me this thing can't do 15 to 20% to retest this 200 level or to retest somewhere close or test somewhere close to 275, 300? That seems a little bit light given the volatility that we got in here in MSTR in the last couple of days. So I'm feeling like that 8% is just not enough on MicroStrategy, but we'll find out. We'll definitely find out. Trader Forever said may have missed a trade on Roku.
Oh, there you go.
That's moving? No, we have Roku's like, it's the 15% expected move. I do believe it's the earnings name that had the biggest expected move. We're getting them after 405, although it did nothing last earnings session. Last earnings, they did like 4%. They did nothing. But Roku, nice little breakout. But overhead resistance. Oh, this is, please let this have a good report so we can squeeze through $81. That's all we can ask for. Just let it be good enough to squeeze through 81. But I think you're right in there to be looking for a reversion because you obviously have some selling here in supply at the $80 level. It ticked above 79. Lo and behold, look at that. Look at these rejection candles above 79, and now this one's starting to pull back in. I think this will be one to play on earnings. So I got out of Reddit a while ago, but the only other thing we're in is Intel, which still doesn't want to get to VWAP. It seems like 22.55 is kind of the spot here and not VWAP on this stock, and there was something else I wanted to get to, but it's slipping my mind.
You were talking about Maple Bear.
It wasn't Cart. It was something else. It'll come
maybe
to me.
Kava. But anyways, AMD right now, here it comes back in. We just took some more out here, though, as we're starting to fall in for advanced micro devices. I almost reloaded it, guys. I was waiting for the 200 period, and then I said to myself, why not just take the same price we already have? And so we should have taken 80s, but we didn't. But we'll take 30 cents right now as it's falling back in. Look what's happening with the market. Uh-oh, here we go to the downside right now as your boy is in this. So let's go. Let's put some out there. We'll take a fill there at 83 on the TQs. My next fill is going to be down here in the 60s as the market trying to tumble down a little bit. We're underneath VWAP. We're underneath the 200. We're underneath the 50 period. So for me, that means that we go short. We only have shorts on board right now. Nothing in the long camp. All right, so Snapchat, again, pretty good for us today. We were really, really patient with this name. If we zoom this out a little bit, we'll have a better look. So there's the short at 80 the first time. There's it down to 40s. There's the short at 80 again. Now we're just down into 70s, but at the end of the day, it is one of these trades, Mr. Raider. It is a money trade as we go short there on Snapchat, short on Snapchat again, and bring it back in. We're glad to have Raider Trader here with us for the next 2 days. So he'll be here tomorrow, where tomorrow's Halloween. So we advise everybody, tweet us your Halloween costumes and everything. Tomorrow we'll be having Halloween costumes here tomorrow. There it is. It's a 60 handle winner right now as the NASDAQ continues to fall off of, again, no mistake, VWAP down there to the downside. Boy, oh boy, we're putting some money back in on the table right here, back in our pockets, I guess, with this most recent move down. And it looks like it's going to be AMD that's giving us that good right here. Nice move down for AMD. Okay, big size there at O's. We'll punch some out at 51s and spin that right now for 30 more cents on AMD as here comes the market. And unfortunately, here comes the pain for those longs. I'm not going to sit here and celebrate, but we're net short. We've got 4 shorts on, and we're not even looking anywhere long. Down goes the market right here today so far. And the trend is your friend. Will we take out that 20,550 bottom?
The trend is your friend till the end when it bends. SoFi, that's who it was. SoFi, I'll explain first, and then we'll get into why SoFi is up, because we're happy that it's up. But yeah, trend reversal on SoFi. It's that simple. SoFi got to 1150. Since it made its first pullback on the 15-minute, connect the support lines, it just broke them now. So getting short underneath 39. I actually wanted 40, but we got some at 39 in here. And we're going to give it to the lower high. Top of the trend is like 45 in there. But yeah, SoFi had a great day today. Wasn't really looking at this for a trade, which is a mistake. And look, the only reason why I wasn't looking day 2 continuation for an SSR name was because there was a million other things that were short sell restricted that seemed like they were going to be better opportunities. But this is what you can get for a day 2 bounce. It's short sell restricted. There's your support level. Doesn't break it. It breaks out. It's easier for the stock to go up in a situation like that. So that's the break of trend on the 15. This is the consolidation confirm underneath. Looking for VWAP retracement on SoFi. So it's up 8% today. That's a great day. But keep in mind, SoFi is, like, this was $12. Although we got flack for saying it went to $12 yesterday. $11.99 was the high of the day on SoFi yesterday. There was someone giving us grief in the chat for saying that SoFi actually got to $12. Got to be more specific, apparently. No, we're going to play this one back into VWAP. Simple VWAP retracement, whether it's a trend break, long or short to long, or this case, like long into a short. I'm always looking to take out 90% into VWAP every single time because remember, it's only a trend reversal because it's been going up in a trend.
Okay, let's just, I just want to give everyone a little bit of a heads up here. So people asking, yeah, Andrew's here visiting us. That's great. He's asking us if he's part of the team. He's always been part of the team. So thank you, Andrew, for coming through. Yeah, he's having an emotional minute there. Thank you for coming through. He's going to be here for the next couple of days. No more of that. And then I just want to say he's now in the chat. So if you have any questions, let's just do it that way. Ask questions. Andrew, if there's anything in there, let our Fabian or Ramin and anyone know, and we'll flip to you immediately. So get those questions right now in the chat for Andrew, and then if there's anything that he likes or anything that he sees in there, funny or not, or market related, preferably, I guess. But we're down for anything. So ask Andrew a question right now, and we'll get to those. So all right, right now it's 70 handles in the money, as there goes the market back in, and be patient. Neil's talking about it. Here we go again. Right now, we're sitting in over $1 worth of winners right now. So, I mean, if these kind of trades are your kind of cup of tea, then this is what we've been doing for now 4 or 5 years on this side. Snapchat, 12 cents now in the money as we're letting that one fall back in. But now that I see where this is, there's a little bit of a shelf right there, and I'm just not going to try to be overly cute with this. How many shares do we have? Fine by me. We'll bid some 66s here on, we got filled, okay. So we're filled there on Snapchat as we let that bleed down in. The market, 85 handles now in the money on this short there for the NASDAQ as we sit in here and watch this money sort of just come in on these shorts. I mean, AMD as well. Here's the short that we just had on a couple minutes ago for you with AMD, and boom, right there to the downside. We talked about this, talked about getting more short, should have. Nice move down. Snapchat, AMD, and the TQs all that way. SMCI, this one will be a red stock for me today because we were trying to go long like a fool, quite frankly. SMCI right there, boom, boom, boom. Couple good longs. It doesn't look like we would be out on it, but it was really this. We're only really down because of this first trade. Everything else was fine now that I look at it. It was this halt trade. We got some out there for 30 cents when it first halted there. It just didn't continue up. That was on the announcement that on November the 5th, they will be having a corporate meeting in there and to discuss Ernst & Young and why they had left, so on and so forth. And then
damage control.
Yeah, damage control looks like, yeah. So then there's more longs in there, but then eventually it lost it, more longs lost it. And as you can see, we stopped trading once we broke below VWAP, and then there was some decent shorts off of said VWAP, I guess, right into there, and then maybe early, but right now you're still underneath a little bit. So as this market continues to move down, SMCI still down that 32%, and probably a buying opportunity. I thought that Dell, as soon as, it's easy to say now when you look back at it and you're like, duh, look at Dell, but that had a nice bounce on basically, yeah, they gave it back, but like this is the SMCI news basically dropping there. A nice move up for Dell, then it retraced back in off open, and then people were like, nah, wait a second, maybe it is okay. We'll see about the investigation here from the DOJ on SMCI, and then of course there's been whistleblower, not whistleblower, maybe there was a whistleblower, but there was also the short report from them, and then now today Ernst & Young stepping aside. So what is SMCI's downside might be Dell's gain. So we'll wait to see if Dell has any sort of effects.
How far can that thing go?
Nice bounce back.
They better say some stuff that the market likes on the 5th. That's all I got to say. Because I don't think we've ever seen a situation like this on SMCI. I'll elaborate in a quick little second, but I'm just going to point out, Intel, every single time it's gone down to $22.30, it has bounced in the morning. Okay, it didn't get there the first time we were short. It just bounced again, 30. Now it's bouncing off 35, so it took some out. And then SoFi, which I said we were just getting into, that just put in its first green since a reversion. I have a bid in front of 30, but I took a little more out there to 35. I got 25s, and we'll get VWAP at 11.20. I have moved stop. Now that it's made one leg down, stop goes to the prior high. So that prior wick is 42, and then we'll get out there on SoFi for that mean reversion trade. As far as SMCI goes, it is what it is. Like the only reason I'm green on SMCI is because I actually didn't get filled on that the halt trade. Although when I put a 3-minute up, I got to start putting 1-minute charts up for you guys when we show a stock that's halting, because I just realized you can't even see the halt on my 3-minute chart there because it's weird.
Like, see what the volume.
No, you want to see a big gap in the volume.
It's just the volume.
It's a little bit easier to see when it halted before and after. I was actually on the bid trying to get the same fill. So I'd have been in it if I'd gotten the right fill, but I think the upside there was like this is the previous resistance, like 39.5. To me, like if it opened higher and ran, that was like easily $2. But SMCI, it's trying to hold some kind of a low. I think the good sign is where it found a bottom at the open, that supply came in en masse again at 32. So for now, where they bottomed it at the open, it's managed to hold 32. You're probably going to want to file that away for tomorrow, because if this loses $32, I don't want to call it the Alamo because the stock's down way too much to be thinking about that. There's like 28 if you go really far back in a weekly chart for SMCI. No, but that 32 is going to be the first place to look for any kind of a day 2 SSR bounce play on SMCI. And that's just because the market told you that's where they're going to buy it. Where it happened in the pre-market, not the same as where it happened twice here in the open market at that 32. They seem to like it. I'm just going to double check back in on Amazon. Like I said, we got into SoFi. I'm getting some out of Intel. I have not added to that position since we came back on. It's just something we had earlier. But Amazon can't seem to get to VWAP. It's up 1.25%. Feel like if this is going to be able to make some kind of a breakaway from VWAP, this could start going. But it's just, it doesn't seem to have the juice. Nothing seems to have the juice. That long side besides Reddit, really. And even then, Reddit just put in a lower high as well. Like Reddit might be a shorting opportunity here. This is the last time it did this, where it broke a high of the day and put in a lower high, it traded straight to VWAP, and that was at 1140. Can it do it again? You got to have a setup, though. I have no setup for this right now. Maybe hold of this little trend it's putting in, or flat bottom break, maybe.
Snapchat is still going to the downside right now. That's a good question, Kristen. I mean, we can talk about that. I don't know what Andrew's doing over there, but I don't mind this question. Where do you gain most of your knowledge from? I think this is important, being so young. Where is it? Right here? How did you gain all of your knowledge in trading being so young? I mean, I think that's a decent question as well. Like, you know, I didn't start trading until 22, graduating from university, and then just came right here, basically, to real trading. Sat on a prop floor and just learned from fire by trial or whatever that is. And just sat down and started trading, and then I've never really looked back in those 22 years, and have done various other roles with the company, including hiring the man to my right over here with Neil, and so on and so forth, and bringing him on board and training most of the traders that you had seen behind us that are now gone, that have opened up their own offices. Actually, none of those guys. Those guys were newer guys. But okay, let's go back over now. Andrew, how did you get so smart so young?
So I actually found a packet on the ground in a dumpster one time. No, I'm kidding. As far as how I actually got lucky, part of the reason why I am largely religious, if I can find it right here, there's Mr. God. But partly why I'm very religious is actually because of this story. My mentors were actually Muslim. They were very professional. They were a group of professionals out in the Bay Area, and I was lucky enough to meet them, and they were willing to take me under their wing from a young age, which again, to this day, it's one of those things where you just have to be grateful that it happened. I wanted to be a doctor when I was younger, and I've maybe told this story before, but I had this crisis, and long story short, I was telling a bunch of people earlier, but I actually found my mentors, and they were Muslim. It's an extreme religion discipline, that religion, and they pray 5 times a day. They are completely and utterly committed to that, and I was able to see their discipline, their role, their morals, and was able to infuse it in mine, and of course their knowledge about the markets as well. They were all options and derivatives traders.
All right, so learn from options and derivatives traders there, and I think that's right. I mean, I think discipline, and no matter what you're doing, I don't care what your job is, I don't care what your end goal is.
Life in general.
If you're not, I mean, we always talk about our kids, and it's like the discipline that's involved there. I mean, I'm seeing it every day with my daughter, and just how committed she is to things, and I see it every day around here too. It's like when I turn around, and I used to say all the time, you know, like when I had my office, if people weren't here on a day, it's because they're sick, or there's like a huge tragedy that's happened or something.
Or
you have to be in, well, no, then they'd be late, but or there's you know, it's like you have to be in front of the desk. It's like a chip in a chair. You have to be in there, you have to sit there, get that discipline, earn your stripes, or else it's not worth it.
One thing we used to do, for like a lot of people, they're like, oh, with nothing's happening in the middle of the day, I don't want to sit around, they're bored. You know what? Like we actually, at our old floor, heck, we would watch, if nothing was happening in the market, keep people in the seats. We put on The Price is Right, man. We'd watch like Shark Tank, and you can have some fun with it. That way you're sitting in your seat if something happens, and everyone can go back and react to it. And I get it. Like, you know, you're bored. This is back when not everybody was sitting there streaming like a million things out there. So yeah, we had cable. But no, you have to be incredibly disciplined. Look, if you're not disciplined, I was saying like undisciplined, and I would have probably shorted like Reddit 57 million times today. And instead, like we didn't. I think that's a good idea, but you're going to, or the other way to look at it is, I think a better way to look at it is if you are in something like wait for, like if you are catching, like say catching a falling knife, I'm just going to show AMD. Like AMD is a better example here. If you are going to catch a falling knife or have like a very specific setup, like AMD down 10%, wait for it to go down 10%. There were shots where it looked like it was making a bounce earlier. Like right in here, it looked like it was making a bounce off of 150.25. But it wasn't until it went short sell restricted right there at 936, first shot at the long. Take profit doesn't work. Does another run of the low of the day. Does it take 150 again? Yes or no? Only entering at 150 on the way up. Actually adding to that one is what it is sometimes. And then you get into VWAP. You've got to be able to wait for your spot and then take your shot when it's there. SMCX is a no-brainer long, LM says. For anyone that, if you see people saying SMCX in the chat, that's just, I believe it's like a 2 times bull.
Something like that.
For SMCI there. So just be aware, you can always just trade SMCI, but the 2x bull, SMCI is making a bit of a move. And when I say a bit of a move, it holds a higher low. That 32 is still looking pretty good here, right back into 33.5. And keep in mind, this is still a long way from VWAP. The scaling on that chart's not going to look very good until tomorrow. But VWAP's literally $1 away almost. Like, yeah, resistance $1 away. VWAP 85, 90 cents away. This has got some heavy lifting on SMCI. I just feel as if it can't make a bigger move because people are waiting for a response, and like the exuberance is just not there yet. So I think you got to watch out for that. But let's take care of a little business, because this last segment brought to you by our good friends over at Firefly Neurosciences, and they've taken a bold step in advancing brain health technology. In collaboration with Bright Minds Biosciences, Firefly's innovative AI-powered platform has successfully analyzed data from a groundbreaking phase 1 clinical trial using advanced EEG technology to track brain activity. This data unlocks new potential in treating neurological and mental disorders, reinforcing Firefly's position at the forefront of brain health innovation. As they prepare for phase 2, this partnership signals exciting developments for the future of neuropsychiatric treatments. Firefly Neuroscience, shaping the future of brain health. Big shout out to them. Always good, because I mean, ultimately, if you don't have brain health, you can't do any of what we're able to do and able to try to do here on.
And we saw them run on that news.
They had that move.
Yeah, it was what was the company?
Was it last week?
Bright Minds, Drug and AIFF had a move last week. So I just want to say here that, we'll drop down a little bit of cash here on AMD. So we just, remember I said to you, if it comes back up, we wanted to reload it. So we did that, and then we reloaded it at 80, and we took out some 70s and then some 68s. And now we'll hold to see if we take down 150. If we do that, then we'll get out watching 150.20 for an ultimate out. Looking to also get a little more short up and in around 150, if we say 150 anymore. Okay, here's a nice little pullback in for the TQ. So let's get out some. I'm going to get out of 10% of what we have left right now. And there it is. Yes, sir. That's another one right there. Man, the bangers are coming in here this afternoon, boy. I know you're in a couple of slow movers, so we don't expect those to move around too much. But in a slow mover right here, Snapchat's only a $12 name, and it's only 20 cents in the money right now. But we're waiting to see if this can break, and then down in here into 55. I do have a bid on Snapchat at 56, just right where the 200 period moving average is. Look, AMD could easily come out now. We are not going to put on, we've already talked about this, I'll put on probably about 20% or so of what we had during this move down here this morning. We do not want to get over, I need to think of something different. I was like, we don't need to get overexposed. I always say that, and mine doesn't go in the right spot. I just don't want to be, I just don't want, the thing is that as you get closer into the close now, the market can easily turn on you, on itself as well. But right now we're underneath the 50 period. I'm still favoring the short, but if the trend changes and this afternoon sort of malaise right here that we're talking about, if that all starts to think about going this way, then we got to exit stage left and get that pull us out.
Well, for us, it's stage right
of these markets. Yeah, if I exit stage left, I'm going to be sitting in Sharif's lap. But
there's only one set of stairs.
He's not.
Although
not
you don't
here
need
right
stairs,
now.
I mean, I have to use them.
Are you? I guess Raider Trader. It's you on the recap show. I'm guessing Raider Trader can come and stay on the recap show. We'll get some instant analysis. I'm going to put this kid to work.
Well,
tonight there's It's not past your bedtime, my guy. We'll figure that out later on.
That probably is, actually. I mean,
What time is it? 4?
Insane.
Yeah, no.
John, you said you were taking your kid to school. Does that make you my father?
To school.
Or to work day?
Oh, no. Someone in the chat said earlier, it was actually a really funny thing I saw was earlier on during the morning show. They said, is it take your kid to work day? Papa? And it was, yeah, so they saw you on there.
Okay, don't take me off.
I have a kid older than you, actually, so that's a true story. Okay, so here we go. All right, AMD right now, 149.90. I mean, I actually don't know how old Andrew is. I'll find that out later on. Nice move up right there into 150. We do have the short right now. My son is 22, so I'll put that out there. All right, here we come in. Nice little reload upside. We are short now at 90. Let's get some bids out here, and then we'll just work with that. So we've got some bids now. We are waiting for AMD to go a little upside through that 150.25. We just talked about it. If the market wants to, I mean, more about AMD, if it wants to get away from this, then we're gone. Good short there at 150 as bring it on down in right now for a little bit of a win now into 82s and into 83s. Oops, we did it again right now with another trade. Neil, that's another one right now that we just put on for everybody there. I mean, that was a good one. We'll take 20 cents now on AMD on a bigger position, obviously, as we got some shorts, and now we'll wait. But let's just be patient, man. It's 321.
Uh-oh.
Let's just chill. We have a 6-screen. What did you do,
Boom.
Rob?
6-screen setup. Let's go.
All right,
Why not?
we take some more out there on the TQs. I like the 6-screen setup.
We always try new things. Oh my goodness, I was so close.
Ramina's starstruck from Raider Trader. She's all flustered and.
Well, it happens.
I see the smile over there. You can't wipe the smile off.
Dressed to the
Ramin's
nines.
face. Ramin.
Got that politician.
Too much Riz up there.
We're not
It's too late. It's too late.
Listen,
We're already into it.
We're not going to mention Ohio. We're not going to mention Riz. We're not going to mention Skibbity, Brain Rot.
Well,
anything.
Okay.
I was about
you
to say
just mentioned
Skibbity.
all three.
You just did
so
all of those.
That was
things.
all right.
I mean,
Gotcha.
all of you, this Ohio thing, there's you know what to pay, because in my household there's way too much of it. My daughter is 7 years old, and I have to hear it every single day at the dinner table.
Yeah.
It's Ohio this, Ohio that.
No, I feel like you'll get out of it, man, because it's like 6 months old now, that stuff.
No, Ohio doesn't exist. Well, you think, first of all, Raider's not real. That's AI. The cat's out of the bag.
People say he looks like a vampire.
There's a disclaimer you're supposed to put on YouTube now. Actually, when you put it live, you have to disclose whether you're using in a live stream, whether there's any AI altered stuff.
Oh, well,
you actually have to disclose. So we don't disclose that because everything here is real. But I was so close to pulling the trigger on Reddit short, and I'm glad I didn't do it. I'm going to show you what I was thinking and then why I didn't do it. So I was like, oh, well, maybe Reddit will put in some lower highs and then hold this little trend down into a flat bottom break, which would mean you take the flat bottom break. But then I was so close saying, oh, but look at this little lower high double top. It'll wick that, and I'm just going to short it when it wicks that. That's not an entry point. That's actually a reversion long. Why the hell would you short it when it looks like a reversion long? It's still strong. So again, sometimes you just got to not do it, as that stock is ridiculous. All we're getting out of SoFi here is the first leg. So it broke 40, got to 35, it's getting to 30, and it won't go to 25.20 yet. And it is 323, so we are running a little bit. It's a little bit later. It feels like it always goes a little faster when you're having a little more fun. Of course, we've had some fun here on the show. It's not that much in terms of really looking balances, but I'm expecting you could see a little something today. Just because of all the extra volatility that we've had, I really just see AT&T, I see BNS, but don't worry about those. If we see any of those earnings names pop in, we're going to have to get our eyeballs over to them. I'm expecting you could see a little something on this imbalance locator. Junior Son just said almost got wrecked in Reddit. It's so easy. If you look hard enough, you're going to find trades. And I think I was maybe just looking too hard to try to find a short on Reddit when that is not the way to go. Christopher Leroy, that VSTE, is that going again? Not really. A bit of a bounce off view up. I know this is one that I think it was Sharif was on this. It was a multi-halter in the middle of the day, and then look at it, hold those halt levels. It's trying to bounce off VWAP, but that's still in a bit of a downward trend off VWAP. Needs to hold that trend back to the upside. Oh, we got a super chat in here. Here it is. David says, Raider, he's your father. Cut the grass and take out the trash. Alphabet and Reddit is your allowance. I mean, everybody, you're going to give out shares of Alphabet and Reddit.
No.
And everyone's going to be doing well, you could just forget about mowing my lawn. Are you kidding me? You could do like the Rogers Center if they had real grass. Just do all of that. Reddit shares? Reddit's an absolute monster. Although you've got to get the kids doing chores young. Not that Raider's a kid, but you've got to do it. It's an important thing. We had a rule. Well, it's a West Indian thing.
Yeah.
The second you are actually tall enough, physically tall enough to do dishes, it's your job. The second you can physically load the laundry machine, it's your job to do just little things like that. Can you physically do it? It's your job. That's
my dad was delivering bread at 6 years old on a bread truck. Man, we've come a long way.
Old country.
A long way. Oh man! Look at Snapchat right there. I love my father. Obviously, thank you for all the hard work that he put in and everything that he instilled in us. Pays off every single day. So yeah, man. I mean, whatever. It's just means a lot, obviously. All right, Snapchat. We're just tweeting this out, and I mean, again, completely free resource is our sticky note. We said we're shorting between $12.50 and $13. There's the short there. We found our level 75. There's the short again. Right now, Snapchat, right now a top stock here traded today, and it's just off of these very, very simple plays. I mean, just 10 minutes ago, we said we're going to wait at the 200 period to take a fill. So we're getting more and more out as we speak here on Snapchat. Again, we don't show our P&Ls because we want to be known for the trades that we put on. You can ask us at any time what we're up or down. If we're up or down on a stock, what's our worst one, ratios of our worst stock versus our best stock, anything like that, whatever you want to know, please tag Neil or myself or Sharif, Sataya, anybody there in the chat, and we will definitely answer those questions. We pride ourselves on being honest and showing you guys what's good, quite frankly. And I mean, these are actually real trades. I just put it in the chat, I cannot believe that I'm able to sit here, have a great time every single day, and still do stuff like this. Talk about it, show you real trading. We say that some people teach, some people do. Some people do both. We're trying to do that every single day right here on the show. So these are actually live executed trades. I mean, this is, Raider traders visiting us. These are the trades we're putting on. We're marking down every single trade that we have. I'm marking down all of these outs for you. We're talking about when we're wrong, like right here, what we're doing to flip it over. So, I mean, yeah, man, I'm really proud of what we've been able to build here. And we're going to keep on doing it, regardless of what happens in these markets. And I mean, I just, again, really been, I don't want to say I know Andrew was all religious and everything all there, but it's about the opportunities. It's about what's in front of you as well. So Andrew knowing that he wanted to stay in the game and work on it, that's when you can really see everything start to pay off. So keep your questions and all that, man, in the chat, and we'll be able to answer everything. And there's Halim's there in the chat. He's been here for 2 years, so he knows what's good, and the kind of trading that I'm doing here every day and putting the numbers up and showing. So, yeah, I want to thank everybody. We have many members that have been here for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. I want to thank all of you for that. There's only one thing you can do, though, because we don't charge anything, is you just hit the like and hit the subscribe and share this. So right now, do that. We want to thank Raider Trader for being here today. And I'll thank everybody in the chat for their kind words again about everything that we're doing. So
that's what it's all about there. And I think it's at the end of the day, there was another question in the chat, and it was a good one. I wanted to make sure we got to it as well. You were asking if you could introduce, if they could be introduced to mentors, like our mentors from trading. I'll be candid. From when I started in trading, I mean, we went to different universities, but Sean and I actually went to university in the same city, although it wasn't the same university, if you could believe it or not. It was literally down the street from each other. So we'd always stayed in touch from high school, and I got into the game because of Sean. So you guys already see Sean here every single day. That said, the other traders that I would count as mentors, the majority of them aren't in the game anymore. I still talk to some of them. There is one trader that I talk to, a couple of guys that I talk to all the time that I would say they were traders that Sean and I had hired, and we just stay in touch, and we're always bouncing ideas off of. And it's not my place to say, hey, this random person wants to meet you. But I can tell you that everything that we talk about or everything that that I'll say this is a setup that I'm looking at, or this is an approach I'm having to enter or exit. Like all of that is from a learned experience. So in a way, you're already every single day meeting our mentors. From my side, I can definitely speak that in truth. And then the first thing that I was told about trading is that don't let anyone fool you into thinking it's easy. Everyone out there that says trading is an easy, you will make money fast, that's the person that's lying to you. It is more about be focused, be disciplined, have a system, make sure you have an edge when you get into a trade. What is your reason for getting into the trade? If your reason is gone, get out. Don't try to fight. Like all of these things that you have to do to be able to manage risk, those are all really important. And it's not easy. So anyone that tells you it's easy or is like, oh, you're going to make $1 million in your first year if you do what I say, then you got to be, well, I mean, okay, I'm exaggerating, but I'm sure somebody said that.
Oh, they all do. They all do.
Yeah, and you just got to be careful with those. So, with that.
I mean, we're putting up these numbers right here.
C battles long SoFi at 11.06. Great look. See, SoFi at $11 was a great long. That was a great long on SoFi. If you had it, I'm assuming you had this breakout right in here and then this dip. And oddly enough, that same dip, which I think is 11.06, higher low, break of trend, enter short, play to VWAP. Again, it's just a simple setup. It makes that break consolidation underneath the trend line, enter the short, play to each support level, and then work into VWAP. Again, it's just a simple system, a simple setup for a mean reversion trade. If you're going to do a short on a stock that's strong, you want to have a good reason for getting in. Or not just a good reason for getting in, but a good time to get in. That you can replicate and then judge how it works.
Yeah, I mean, great talk, great questions, everybody. Thanks for keeping them flowing. But I mean, as far as like showing you trades and learning, I mean, I think we do a pretty good job right here. AMD now 40 or 50 cents in the money. TQQ's now 80 cents in the money as we hold this all the way back in, and really going to have a green day today here again. I pick, then I will be going to Adara at the big screen.
Lots of movers today to both the upside and the downside to pretty significant extents. Eli Lilly got hit pretty hard. SMCI, of course, to the downside, some Google strength. What I wanted to do today is take a look at the strongest names here off earnings as we enter Power Hour. So I picked 3 S&P 500 earnings plays. We haven't talked about as much. We can take a look at what they're doing now. We're going to start off here with this Smurf at WestRock. This company here missing sales. They also missed their EPS estimates. They're still here, though, nicely to the upside for Smurf at WestRock. Now we have next up DAY. This is Dayforce. They're up about 8% here, only slightly removed from today's highs. They beat here for sales and EPS. Their revenue 2024 guidance was a miss, their Q4 revenue guidance was a miss, but their fiscal 2024 revenue guidance was actually an increase, and it beat estimates. So mixed report, but nice upside for DAY. Last but not least, Visa. Visa was on watch yesterday. About an hour before its earnings, the Wall Street Journal reported that the company is set to lay off 1,400 employees and contractors as it restructures its international business. Then we got the report here. They beat on EPS and sales, and they had pretty strong guidance here, seeing high single-digit net revenue growth and for Q1 2025 and fiscal 2025 growth in the high single digits to low double digits. So good guidance, strong earnings, sending V to the upside today, guys.
Okay, we are going to go to Andrew in 1 second, but what in the...
Yeah,
oh boy.
A lot of the animations are food.
There we go. A lot of the animations are food-based, says Adara right now, because we are cooking up some profits right now. I mean, look what's happening. Look at this, Mr. Raider Trader. Now you're seeing it firsthand. This is no joke. Here goes AMD to the downside. We just reloaded it. We talked about putting on a position right there. We did it at 150. Now it's 80 cents in the money right there. So whether or not you're trading options or equity itself, futures. I mean, I was talking with Miss Danielle Shea, and congratulations to Miss Danielle Shea yesterday announcing,
yes, sir.
And sending the pictures through and all that stuff. I won't show them, but I think they're on her Twitter, so you can go find them right there. Thank you, Miss Danielle Shea, and she's, I believe, watching. She's messaging me about this futures trade right here. So we're like, thank you for that one. As it's going to the downside, she goes, obsessed much with the futures? I was like, yeah, just a couple fills right there. But hey, Neil, it's 90 handles, and this is for you, Raider. He was like, what's going on over there? It's another chicken dinner winner. We've got 92 cents in the money on the TQs, and this is a trade that we've been talking about all afternoon. And then AMD was a fresh reload, and now that one is proving, as we said, man, we're trying to show you that making money in this market and chilling out, being normal people is possible. So today, good day. We have some bad trades on board for sure, but it'll be enough to raise the trophy. And it's another positive day over on this side right now. As we watch AMD, it wasn't a positive day all day, but there goes AMD. No, Ramin, not while we're at it. No, and then, Ramin. No, and then. Right here, a nice move to the downside right now. We're punching more out on AMD as it comes back into 149.12. Right now, E-Signal is great program. I absolutely love E-Signal, but you know what makes the money are the trades right now. And that's what we're talking about as we go bearish in the market. I'm getting excited. We've talked about this. I like to look at the P&L when we trade because, again, that's what we're here for, making money and looking down at the end of the day and seeing these wins. So without any further ado, E-Signal. I've been trading with E-Signal for quite a while. I like E-Signal. E-Signal is fantastic. Do we have that? Is that going to go up? 2, 1, bang, hit that QR code right now and become an E-Signal fanatic like me and, find the right trades. I have to admit it, I found this one by myself, but if you set those alerts to the 50-period moving average, they have lightning fast market data. So as quickly as I'm making these dollar winners, you too can hook up your broker. You too can use this platform. This is world customizable, world-class charts. So now you're with world-class trading, you can also use world-class charts as AMD going more to the downside. It is E-Signal, trade smarter, not harder. You combine E-Signal with the trades, and I don't know, that might be one of those winning combinations, Neil. How goes your day?
Everything. We just got low of the day on Intel, so I can't complain. I've only had 2 trades this afternoon, and they both worked. So I'm not going to hate on it. Again, just find your plan, find your entry point. It's basically one entry point, and it's just bleeding right into where we want it. I did just get out of Intel because for the 4th time today, check that. No, it's only the 4th time today. It's bouncing off the 2230 level. So once again, it makes its way down to the low. It goes 50s into 30s every single time, down 2.5 points, but it's been giving you a 1% range pretty much the rest of the afternoon. Just on a higher look, we're going to go to Andrew in a quick little second. On a higher time frame look, the only good thing about this stock is it's actually condensing. It's making a nice little higher low bottom, and all these rumors of them being bought out or whatever it is, I don't think there's too much to that. That said, it's putting in a higher low, and I know someone was in the chat, I don't want to out them or anything, but I did agree with them that if they were to make like a leadership change or something drastic were to happen at Intel now, it's made a bit of a base that you could maybe see a great positive reaction. I'm not saying Gelsinger is going to leave or be ousted, but
I'll say it. I think he's gone in 6 months.
I'd like it to happen sooner because I feel like this wedge would break if that were to happen.
He will.
6 months from now, it's not going to be at this price wedge, and it's making a nice little wedge here. But ideally, it breaks out of this channel here because then you can try to fill in the gap. But anyways, Intel for now is not good. I don't think I'm telling you anything that you don't know, but let's go up to the desk.
For a year.
Well, I don't know. Maybe some people think that it's still normal. Let's go up to the desk, Mr. Raider.
So I couldn't tell if Sean was doing an ad for AMD or E-Signal, but either way, they were blended together. As far as what I was going to tell you guys, when we come towards this market close, what I like to do a lot is focus on positioning. How am I positioning? What time am I positioning? And what for? So a lot of you traders who are swing traders, I've made majority of my profits off swing trading. Naturally, because I'm options, I have to leverage my options with the time that I have. So one that you will actually look for is around 345, 340 to 345, 15 minutes before close is often where you get a pinning move or a pivot level. So if you want to take a close into something, that's often where I wait last hour to last 15 minutes before I make a decision to long something. So right now with the markets dropping, I do expect that, hey, you know what? If this is going to be a pivot level, expect some more upside, especially since we have that script of potentially closing green today with a 71% chance we want to be on the right side of the odds. So if you want to take a trade, what's the better risk to reward into these last 15 minutes? I say to the upside. Several different names that I'm long currently is still Boeing. I'm still long Boeing with Friday calls as well, but also let's pull up this one as well. This one I'm watching as well, which is energy, of course, with the dollar expecting some weakness. I like materials and energy to the upside here.
Hey, Andrew, what's up? Are most of those trades you're looking for closing this Friday, or was there any that you're looking for a little more of a swing trade there, potentially even closing next week or some closing today? What were some of the lengths of those trades?
No, we're not doing that. Sorry. But as far as what we're doing moving forward, what I like to do is think about, if I'm going to get this time frame, is the move, does it take a miracle to work out, right? If I buy this Friday and I'm expecting a $6 move or 6% move on a stock, that's kind of a lot. If that extends beyond, even 3 days of average movements, say it moves 1% each day, that means I'd have to beat the expected move in just 2 days. So that's a very unlikely trade. So what I like to do is assess, okay, if I'm going to hold it for this Friday, maybe I buy 11.8. I'll make a little bit less, but it will give me the flexibility to cut, trim, or even add to my winners as they go higher.
All right, good. Thank you for that one. It's nice to have a different perspective here. Yeah, exactly, because Neil and I will obviously be closing all, and if you're joining for the first time, thank you again so much for that. But I was going to say that we have over 4,500 watching right now, and again, thank you, Andrew. He'll be here the next 2 days as well.
He'll also be on the Aftermarket show because he's going to be on the market recap because we got a lot to cover. So make sure you got that mic handy. We've got lots of, there's so many earnings names. I don't want to bother trying to read them all. We're talking Meta. Obviously, we're talking Microsoft. We're going to have Carvana is going to be reporting, MicroStrategy, Riot, and then probably at least another 6 or 7 that are going to be big ones. We have a lot to cover in the Aftermarket show today. It's going to be a big one.
Yeah.
Oh, update. Okay, so like I said, Intel, it's weird. Like every time this bounces, I guess you could be going long at 22.30 on Intel. And I meant to do this by going to the 15-minute chart on Intel at this price. Let me just get this out of the way. This price level has actually been pretty decent in terms of, I'm not talking about pivot points like the indicator, but when I say a pivot point, what I mean by it is look at 22.30, run away. So close, support, flush, resistance, close, support, resistance here, and then resistance again. Like this 22.30, since this flush off of the 24 bounce, this has been a bit of a level. Now, the fear would be if you lose 22.30 tomorrow, you got a sizable gap that could get filled in for Intel. They report, I believe it is tomorrow after the bell.
All right. I just saw something happen, so I have to initiate this guy over here. It is Hydration Nation. So, Neil, let's go. It's cheers, Mr. Raider. Hydration Nation. So, there you go. Cheers it up.
I'm not doing a very good job.
There we go. All right.
It's because of the tea.
There we go.
Actually, you know what?
Chris into Trader TV Lifestyle.
Andre was working so hard today. He's like, oh, I forgot to drink my water. He's like, I'm feeling dehydrated. I'm like, you gotta hydrate up.
Yeah, I often don't drink water, but you guys know that I'm here drinking coffees and teas and all that all day, which is made from 99% water. Yeah. Of course, but we have to be chugging some more waters here as we go. So, all right, just real quick, man.
Okay. That was intense.
I'm about to cut this kid's mic. Okay, just real quick right now. 149 right now coming into play. So there it is right there. Now we do have $1. Travolta's like, what is going on today over at Trader TV Live, of course. But we're doing this is what's going on right now. We're spinning this one more time. It don't matter who visits us. It's the same results. There's a nice move down there we just reloaded this. So AMD now joins. Not sure he's old enough to get in, but joins the dollar club right there as we make moves down into 149. We just put that on, Neil, 40 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago. Welcome to $1 winner right there. And the futures are trying, man. We already took 100 handles right there. We're trying to get a little bit more. Let's see if we can go some downside. And then Snapchat. I'm almost out of this name. It just bounced again. It's pretty quiet here into the close, so we'll wait for Snapchat. But we're just sitting down here again. We're not going to be at our highest spot today. We were actually at our highest spot when we had the trade of the day on with AMD, and we have another. Might be for me the next best, but it was this right here. It was, and again, we had written down here on AMD today 158 short, right? It's nowhere near 158 short when this happened, but the market started to break down. We were like, I'm not missing this AMD trade. We knew we wanted the short. It's right here on the sticky note. Go find it. Over 5,000 of you have today. And then when it broke the market low, the pre-market low right there of 151.75, we hit more into that short. So by that time, we had about a 152 and change position, and then it just collapsed right there. And then we were, like I said, we were up more than we were up yesterday for the whole day, and that was at 940. But that also coincided with this Google drop where we had bought that all back, and then we were really, really singing. But we gave it back on Google as it fell back through and broke, again, our posted 178 levels. So once we broke that, bye-bye. Learning that basically the levels might be really hot fire, but once the market can change, you got to ignore. And now Google's given back half of what it was up today. I think it was up close to 7% at one point, Google falling back in. So, and again, and then before I throw it back over to Neil there, we only have 5 minutes left until the imbalances. It's this ability too. So it's that same spidey sense, right? We talk about that. I talk about that all the time. If I'm getting a feel that something's switching, we get that out and flip it around if we feel strongly about it. And that's what we did here. These are buys of the TQQs into these cells, right? So we actually were up a little bit until eventually it broke, and then we started to build the short. Once, twice, thrice, more than that, all the way to the downside off of VWAP. So believing in your systems and taking them is allowing for, again, a pretty decent day here. Could always be better. You know, we've made mistakes. It's easy to talk about your wins. But you also have to, look at your losses. At the end of the day, we say this all the time. You can look down at your P&L, and it tells you everything you need to know. So we'll continue to do that. More E. coli outbreaks talking right now. That's not good for MCD.
Good for McDonald's.
McDonald's. Let's have a quick little look at this.
Low of the day again.
Is it okay? I was wondering if we actually had this story early right now in our ear about this. Looks like someone's already hit this name down.
Hit it like 2 minutes ago.
Remember, what was it the other day? I think it was this morning, wasn't it, on SMCI? Like, we had that play when it was like so early in our ear. It was like $46, $47. Like, oh, here comes SMCI. And I was like, wow.
Oh, man.
Like, it just kept on going there. So sometimes you're late to the stories, and sometimes they're just getting started. But this looks like a nice push down here on McDonald's. And
it's not
we saw them move down to what? Right here, 285. On that first initial story, it looks like we may be heading back down into 285 now for MCD. 13 minutes left till another big earnings day.
2 minutes until the imbalances. That minute, if McDonald's loses that initial low, yikes. You want it to make a base. It's kind of like CrowdStrike, really. You want it to make a base when they have that bad news. You want it to hold on to that panic bottom. When you don't hold a panic bottom, you're just running like new entries like that buy the dip crowd. They're just getting run. Before I go to, I got out of Snapchat, but Boeing with a notable early look sell imbalance of 2 mil, but look at the paired. There's already over 10 million of interest in this Boeing imbalance, and it was 3, and they just paired it off to two. So there is some pairing going into what looks like an interesting close.
You weren't in Snapchat. You were in something else.
No, it wasn't Snapchat. It was.
I was gonna say exactly.
No, it's SoFi.
SoFi.
What ends up happening is sometimes it's like, okay. You were trading Snapchat. It begins with an S.
I know, that's why I didn't know if you just put a position on.
No, I haven't even. No, I didn't look at Snapchat, but I haven't traded today. No, it just the SoFi didn't quite get into VWAP, but we were going to get out at VWAP regardless. And so the second it got close to 350, trail out into the next level, which ended up being 27s here. So SoFi does work to the downside. Is what it is. Like, this is one of those days where, like, ultimately I probably traded 13 or 14 symbols and have 3 red ones, but one of them is a buyout that I got rinsed on, which I have quite possibly. And I'm only going to say this because we talk about like your systems and all that good stuff. But I actually said on this particular stock, which doesn't move a heck of a lot. The other day I said, I'm only looking to go short this name. And then proceeded to have the worst possible long that you could have. and then I wasn't at my desk when it made that move. And so that was my entire day. And
The thing is, you're up on all the other stuff. I mean,
no. But the reason I bring this up is I literally said to Wayne, "This stock is only a short." Yesterday.
See,
and
it's
then
those senses. That's what I'm telling you.
And then I proceeded to actually reverse long really early on the stock.
McDonald's down another $1, by the way.
Yeah, McDonald's is a problem right now.
But that's what I'm talking about. Like, you have that feeling that something's not right about a stock.
But I still went long.
Yeah, but I mean,
McDonald's is in trouble, guys.
It just broke through 290 again.
Yeah, this is
okay.
actually...
I'm gonna sneeze. Oh no.
I think we're supposed to go to a. Can we? How about this? Before we go to a dare, we have 10 seconds until the imbalances. So how about we? I know we got to go to a dare, but let's hold off until we get the imbalances, so I can show you the imbalances, and then we'll go over to the desk.
I take such small little victories, don't I? It's really bad. Okay, so here comes the side. I was just so happy to get that for you there. Hold on a second.
TLT.
Over there to TLT. Oh no, there's a TLT sell imbalance. So our guy Raider may have a comment or so on that one, but it doesn't really matter. TLT's not moving. That's not it. They're very scared. Yeah. SMCI 1 milli. That's a milli right there for that short coming in. That could be a play there as well. Chipotle, a name that we didn't talk too much about today, which is kind of not down 32%, is Chipotle. There we go, down, that scared me a minute there. Down 7 there for Chipotle. Our Nvidia buy, oh, by the way, that came out over here, and I forgot to mention it. I was just like, am I still in Nvidia? No, I'm not. We got out of that one, so we absorbed all of that, which was nice. That was $3 win there on Nvidia. We're still $10. $1 right now in the money as we look at 149 right now on AMD right here, down 10%. Sorry, is what we're talking about there on the day is AMD, and it's at its lows, man. This is what we've been doing on the show this afternoon. Short. Chow right there. Look at that fill, 66. Give me that. Give me some more here. All right, Raider Trader, man. We may have to up our little Christmas thing, maybe to $35 limit after this trade here on AMD. I like that tie. Daryl, what do you got?
I was going to give the whole story here in McDonald's in case anybody missed it. So we have another update from the CDC saying as of today, October 30th, there are now 90 people infected with that E. coli outbreak strain that was impacted by McDonald's. Those are out of 13 states, so 90 people impacted from 13 states in the U.S. Last time we heard an update from this outbreak, it was 75 people in 13 states. So it looked like it's still within the same 13 states, but 15 more infections being reported here with E. coli, sending MCD to the downside as we get into power hour with the largest volume candle by far on this 15-minute chart, guys.
That actually wasn't the low. It was the low of the open market. Actually, it was lower in the pre-market on McDonald's. But that sell imbalance on SMCI gone already. Doesn't wait till 355. Looks like that's already paired. I don't see it anymore. It's got to be way down there on SMCI. But you do have Apple sell 900,000, AMD's a buy of 900,000 there. Those are the big ones. Cisco actually 1 million to the buy side, and then open 1.1. But this is what happened on SMCI when that 1 million sell reverted. Like it was looking like, look at the volume candle. The imbalances come out, biggest volume candle since 130. And it was looking like it was going to flush right into the close. And if you're trading off the imbalances, then make sure you're watching them for when they pair off, because as quickly as that looked like it was going to be a good shorting opportunity, like right back into the upside, that snapped right back up. So obviously a fantastic day for short sellers on SMCI. Whoever had that that short seller report, like we joke about those being exit liquidity. This was one of the few times where, they had it, they won. Like it went even lower on SoFi. It was an absolute win for them. Reddit with the 42% move. It's actually going to hold on to those highs. It was never really a short till it got to 118. And even then, I don't know if you had a reason to be short that thing at 118.
True.
I can't remember the last time we saw something like this big of a gap in the aftermarket, and then that clean of a breakout today on Reddit. So sometimes you just got to believe it and not always think about buying the dip. Just play the rip. We always say sometimes people like it in the market to buy low, sell high. But remember, the best trend trades are buy high, sell higher. Remember, for 2 days in Tesla, you were buying high and selling higher because it wasn't that easy to catch some of those lows. Because once it caught a bid, it would absolutely fly. So in just a couple minutes, I'm going to mosey on up to the desk. Might refresh my water before I do that, as a matter of fact. You got me thinking about it.
Yeah, good. Go for that, man. Oh boy, right here, guys. Look at AMD right now, $1.40 in the money as Will props it up, and we just say, whoopsies. We say right here, we tagged our guy over there. We said we are short AMD all afternoon with Live Trader TV, with Live Trader TV Research, with our friend Trader right here. Let's go. And of course, Ric Flair adding a little woo to your afternoon as we go. I mean, look at this, man. You know, there it is. This is the one right here. The trade to end all trades right now. Nice move to the downside right now for, I mean, what a great way to end the day. Honestly, to be short into this market. Not only are we short, like, okay, you're short AMD, yeah, easy play, right? Fine. What about Snapchat right here? We're short Snapchat, a name that's up 16%. Snapchat's going to be one of the top names today traded, and it's just because of these two trades. There it is, and there it is again. Thank you, come again, we say, to all AMD traders. And then the futures right now, 130 handles in the money. I should give a shout out to my good friend Danielle Shea, who is like, you liking the futures a bit? And I'm like, yeah, just a little bit right there as the TQQs. So P&L number 1 today across the platform, AMD. P&L number 2, TQQs. There we go, man. That's basically it. Snapchat. Then as Neil mentioned, a couple red names. Like I'm red on SMCI there today. We tried this name to go long off of there. We did not do that. But again, what we're down on SMCI is a third of what we're up on AMD. And then right now also Snapchat. We're going to start to get out of this one as it's getting close, man. We're about to retire this show right here. Hey, we got to do this when it's time for him to talk. So there it is.
I go to the bathroom too.
Raiders back on screen. You know what time it is. If you want to just look at my chart real quick, I do have some data to present to you guys. This is going forward in the markets. This right here is a seasonal chart. Just briefly remember that into November, we are expecting somewhat of a positive seasonality to hit certain sectors. What those will be likely around the Fed, somewhat like solars, rate-sensitive names in general. The IPO names we were mentioning, Reddit. It's not a coincidence you're seeing all of these pop off. It is the theme of the markets right now. It is the mania, if you will. But one thing I do want to talk about right here is October's notorious for max pain. We are still in October, and we haven't really seen that max pain move yet. What max pain does is it flushes out majority of the buyers if there is an imbalance and then traps the sellers, and you get that bigger move higher. So this right here, if you do look, is an open interest chart. You'll see the last major level of calls is at that 580. Underneath of that, there is really nothing, and that would put the bulls through max pain. I think that around, if we do flush this general trend line right here like we are now, just flush down into 578, 577, somewhere around there, we will get a quick wick back up and have a strong close. That's it, guys.
A strong close. Yeah, we only have 3 minutes right now. We are
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Good call on that one. Yeah, today so far, man, we are not having a strong close as the NASDAQ continues to bleed at its day's low. And it's not, look, I mean, if I could predict that this was about to happen, then, you know, we wouldn't be basically out of everything. Although you have to remember, we talk about this, we're flat in 3 minutes. At 4 o'clock, we're flat. We're at a prop firm. We're at real trading. So we get out once that happens. So right now, let's just do it right in front of everybody. So AMD right now, we were waiting for a little bit lower. We're $1.70 in the money on this one. We were able to hold it. It broke that 149. And, you know, as some say, the rest is history. We're bidding 148.25 back to the day's low. If we can grab that, we'll take it, man. Snapchat, let's just get out of Snapchat. I was waiting for 40s. Doesn't look like it's going to get that. We got a great fill there at 53. Let's put our bids out now on Snapchat. McDonald's is retracing back to the high side. We'll put a bid there on Snapchat, see if we get it. There's McDonald's. Oops, Snap. I just typed in Snap again when I meant to type in McDonald's. Only 2 minutes to go. There's a retracement back up for McDonald's. Hydrate. I like that. All right, so right there, just real quick, that's what we're doing there on Hydration Nation. Let's get something out on, we just got out on Snapchat. We got filled on the bid. All right, futures. Looks like AMD, I mean, we only have a minute and a half left. Thank you so much for liking the show. Like it, watch it. Watch us tomorrow, man. It's Halloween. We'll be in our costumes tomorrow, so get ready for that one right now. Okay, AMD TQQs with only a minute left. Let me just check out what is going on the imbalance locator. Things have sort of leveled off. I don't know what KDP is. Maybe there is some sort of an index action there over 25%, 25 million right now with 1 million still to buy. Comcast is here, Ford is here, Nvidia was just there as well. AMD, though, there's the retracement back up with only a minute left on this. Let's just punch out of AMD. We have 1% left on this trade as we look to go a little bit higher there. The TQs as well. We did get out of Snapchat, but oh boy, what a day that was for us. There's the out on the NASDAQ right there. That was a good out. We'll take that. We'll cancel all of our script orders. We are near the high of the day for ourselves. It was a really, really fun one in this afternoon. Get ready, man. It's Meta, it's Microsoft, it's Starbucks. Never have I more felt like the NYSE. Here we go. It is time to ring the bell coming up right now. With only 10 seconds left, let's hit the countdown. Thank you again. That, if you're wondering who that is Raider Trader, Andrew Raider, with only 4 seconds left. 3, 2, and 1. Ring the bell. There we go. Thank you so much. So calm, cool, and collected right there. That is Andrew Raider. Go find him at Raider Trader, both on X and on Instagram. That'll be $5 on X and on Instagram. All right, without any further ado, we're probably ready to go. Earnings are popping off as we speak, so let's get over to the big desk with Adara and Neil. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much there, Sean. Yeah, we're expecting a big-time earnings palooza here today. You already have movement here in Microsoft. It's spiking to the upside. Microsoft already at fourth. Okay, never mind. Microsoft was at 440. Now it's at 420. You guys just saw that here. Like the second we pulled it up, Softy was breaking out the top. And this is why, look, earnings, this is what happens here. We're going to get the numbers from Midday in just a couple of seconds here. But Microsoft doing the dipsy-do down to 420. You can't make it up. And the buyers seem to like it at that 420 level. So the first one off to the bell is the biggest and the baddest of the earnings names that we are expecting today. There's a good dozen names that we're going to report that should all be big. Softy now flat. So exactly flat here on Microsoft as it is bouncing back into the upside of Dare. We have the number.
Okay, so Azure revenue here up 34%. They missed here on their revenue. I didn't get the exact number here because there's a man talking to my ear. I'll see it. Once I get everything, I'll let you know. But they did miss on revenue. The estimate there for their revenue was $64.4 billion. Earnings of $3.30 per share. Analysts were looking here for $3.08. So they beat on EPS. From what I'm hearing, they missed on revenue, but sometimes we hear their numbers, things happen, so I will let you know. I'll give you updates. From what I'm hearing, though, that was a revenue beat and an increase there for Azure, for Microsoft. We're also supposed to be getting MSTR and RIOT at 4. Microsoft was early. We're expecting Microsoft at 410, so I'll see if I have anything here. I'm not seeing anything on MSTR or, I am seeing MSTR here. I'm not seeing Riot yet, but MSTR apparently currently having here they have a $42 billion capital plan they announced here, and they had a 5.1% BTC yield KPI achieved during the quarter. So a couple numbers coming here for MSTR. They're trying to raise $21 billion using fixed income securities. Lots of other tickers are waiting here to report, though, at 4:05, including Hood, Starbucks, Meta, Twilio, Etsy. We got it all.
Well, they're dumping it right now on MSTR, I can tell you that much. But remember, the disconnect was real yesterday, and the disconnect continued between MSTR and Bitcoin. The hedging that goes on between those two is a good portion of it because you failed that high, but as you were running into the high in BTC, you did see a pullback yesterday in MSTR down to 240. You dropped about $10 there at the close, or from the close to the bottoms. It's down 8%. It was already a rough day for MSTR. So MicroStrategy taking it on the chin.
They missed.
But you got to remember, it's actually up so much. Sometimes it's not it's where you've come from. And a lot of times when you have these kinds of highs and a bit of a parabolic mover, you were getting a huge move to the downside there. I know we want to get to those numbers, but Meta is out. Meta just touched 600. Okay, 599.60. We got flack last time. Stock didn't break the even dollar, and we said that it did. So Meta going 590 to 599.60. It was actually true, Andrew. I think it was it was a Snapchat. I think got to 11.99 or something like that. And it didn't break 12, and we said we got to that price. And we're like, okay, fine, we'll let you guys know when it breaks 600. But it's a matter of when on Meta. I understand that it is not a big move. We were actually expecting a little bit more than this out of Meta. The expected move was 8%. Right now, it's kind of flat here on Meta. So I was expecting some more fireworks. I want it to be up. I liked it. It's up. I mean, Adair, do we have the numbers here on Meta? Because I can't imagine it was that big of a beat if we're not flying through 600.
I'm not even hearing that we have Meta yet. I'll give you guys updates here in MSTR and MSFT. MicroStrategy's first, one of the two micros today. MicroStrategy, losses of $1.56 per share, huge miss compared to an expected loss of 14 cents per share. Sales of 116.07 million versus 122 million expected. So MSTR, pretty big miss. Now, Microsoft. These actually, so it looks like they did beat sales estimate. I apologize because what I was hearing was they missed. We do have different analyst consensus estimates coming out. So it looks like, I think what I was hearing, they were using consensus estimate of 64 billion, or 66 billion. The consensus estimate most people are using here is 64 billion. So Microsoft did end up beating sales despite that initial misreporting there that I was hearing. Sales of 65.6 billion versus 64.5 billion expected. GAAP earnings of $3.30 per share versus $3.09 per share expected. I am not seeing nor am I hearing anything about Meta coming out right now.
Here we go.
$6.03 EPS. We were expecting $5.25. That's
Yuck.
the beat. 40.59 billion. Okay, so 40.59 billion for revenue, 40.2 billion revenue expected. That's going to be a bit as well for Meta.
Oh, well,
I'm hearing all the other numbers now, but Meta beats.
It's going to be kaputs right now. So Meta, which was going up earlier, now you're back through 590s. That's the thing. Like, they couldn't have been out on anything positive. Now 560 on Meta, down precipitously here. So 600 to 560 and still falling here for Meta. What else do we have?
Robinhood just came out here. I'm going to pull them up. So this is not a great report from what I'm seeing. GAAP earnings of 17 cents per share in line with estimates. Sales of 637 million versus estimates of 650.67 million. That is a miss for Robinhood sales and inline EPS. From what I'm hearing, most of what I'm hearing here from Meta is a beat for the different segments. I'm going to look through the whole report when I get it. I'm hearing right now their guidance. So their guidance here, I'm hearing a range. But we got Starbucks here too, so I'm going to wait till I see everything on Meta to give you guys all those other numbers. But Starbucks here looks like they did have a miss across the board. 80 cents per share versus $1.03 per share expected. Sales 9.07 bill versus 9.37 bill expected. And it's worth noting here, for Starbucks, we already had the preliminary earnings. They weren't good. The actual earnings, not great here either, though they're only down about 0.9% compared to that initial move down that we had with the prelim earnings last Tuesday.
And as Raider just said here, Meta just went green again. Meta went almost exactly, I don't want to say exactly, but almost exactly to prior support down here. The 50 period's 555, support was at 561, and the volume came in at 61. The bottom was $555. So this pulled exactly into the 50-period moving average on the daily on Meta, and then you're right back into the upside. Now, it's not really holding, it's not holding green, but that was a huge bounce. They like to buy good companies on that 50-period moving average. You can't lie about it. Robinhood, okay, so Hood's taking it on the chin. This feels like a little bit of a theme. The stocks that have been almost like ridiculously trending up and at those highs, it's like the smallest little thing goes wrong or that they don't like in the report, and there is your pullback. So essentially, Robinhood has given it all back going to the beginning, not really the beginning of the month, but close to the beginning of the month, and the most recent breakout, right back down underneath $25. Robinhood is 11% to the downside and still looking very weak. The way Meta bounced off the lows, well, Robinhood made a low at the even dollar level, and it is barely bouncing back to the upside. So it's a pretty nasty move for several names here. Starbucks, oddly enough, not that bad. Only 1% down for Starbucks. I feel like when you get out in front of things and you got the CEO change, maybe they're going to be able to weather this one. It's actually holding at $96, so a bit of a sideways action for Starbucks, which kind of makes it better than some of the others we've seen so far here at Era.
I have a theory on Starbucks, and I was saying this to Sharif the day that we got it. Ryan Nichols got plans. We know he is media savvy. We saw him with that whole shrug, if you want more in your Chipotle bowl. Now Chipotle apparently giving more in portions. So what I say to that is, when I saw what he did with Starbucks, I figured he's trying to preempt a larger move at earnings by giving us the bad news ahead of time. If that's what he's planning, right now it looks like it might have worked out because those numbers were not great. Dip there in comparable store sales, which we were expecting, but that's what I'm trying to say. We were expecting it. So I actually think if it was planned there on Ryan Nichols' part, not a bad plan. Roku, I'm seeing they reported, however, they have a very unique system where you have to go on their website, and then when you click the link on their website, it says you back to your website. So I'm unable to access these numbers, unfortunately, due to the nature of how they're on their website. But if I see them, you know, I will let you know.
Well, Roku did break that $80 level that was kind of. Oh, whoops. Roku broke that $80 level that I was hoping would happen here, but did not hold above it. You're flushing now. 5% down's not that big. But I was going to ask you a question here about earnings in particular, Andrew. And a lot of times, you know, you talk about options, that's what you're going to be playing in.
Yep.
Now, a lot of traders want to put gambles on, want to put bets on before these earnings moves because they see this crazy price action. Now, what is your take on that? And is it something that you advise? Is it something that you have a strategy for? Because when you see this type of movement on many names, people are going to get those googly eyes and want to capture those moves. Yeah,
there's a few exceptions, but typically my rule is every earnings season, I do try to identify the names that have less of a crowded trade to them. Things like mega caps, things like Meta, of course, it's a $1.5 trillion stock. Why are they expecting a 50-point move or $50 move? It's insane. So if you're an options trader, you can't get the same benefit of, oh, I bought Meta equity, now I'm up 8%. If you go up 5% on your options, the next day you're actually going to probably be down, even though you got the direction right. So you have to understand that if you do trade options, is it actually worth it? Because even if I'm right, I still have to get the biggest move to even get paid based off expectations. So in my eyes, I didn't take Meta, I didn't take any of these mega caps this time around, no.
No, and I think that looks like it's the right call in here because the move on Meta, we're getting it's 2%.
I have Meta guidance here, and I also have DoorDash earnings, if I may.
Okay, let's get them.
So Meta guidance, pretty strong here for Q4, $45 to $48 billion is what they're seeing for Q4 revenue. The estimate was $40.286 billion. So nice beat here across the line for their Q4 revenue guidance. Now we have DoorDash here as well, so I'll pull those up. Looks like they beat here across the board for DASH. I am seeing here earnings of 38 cents per share versus 22 expected. Sales of $2.7 billion versus $2.66 billion expected. So DoorDash initially falling, but trying to recover now nicely. I'm not seeing any guidance or anything from them. I'm also still seeing more from Meta here. Their Q3 family daily active people here on average for September 2024 was 3.29 billion, up 5% year over year. So increase in daily family active people or Meta for Q3.
Well, the good look for DoorDash is at least it's bouncing here. They were down pretty heavily here, down on 147. It looks like it was the bottom. It's rebounding into 155, and I'm telling you, this pattern is real. The names that are the strongest and have trended the strongest that are coming in, it seems like they're selling them off. Almost the initial move every single time on these runners has been to the downside. And that's what you get with DoorDash. Now, we have all Carvana as well, CVNA. We're talking about short float names and squeeze names. CVNA Carvana just tagged $257 and a bit of a pullback. Look at this move. 200. You're down at 189. You're up to 259. You're back to 230. Yeah, it's at 12% now, but that means it broke out and went 20% up. And that was after being a good 7 points to the downside. So Carvana absolutely all over the place here for CVNA. Remember, this is a 12% short float name. The comeback on these kids has been pretty spectacular. I mean, they famously got a Morgan Stanley price target of $1, which right now is incorrect by about $232. So good luck to you, Morgan Stanley.
I'm seeing Roku numbers. They beat here losses of 6 cents per share versus 32 cent per share loss expected. So they beat their sales of 1.06 billion versus 1.017 billion. Also a beat. They're seeing Q4 revenue of 1.14 billion and adjusted EBITDA of 30 million. Now, let's talk about Meta because we got some more numbers coming out of them as well. Or not numbers, but updates, which are not necessarily positive. They're expecting Reality Labs 2024 operating losses to increase year over year. We know Reality Labs has been a huge source of strife for the company because it generally is just bringing out losses. They also did update their full total expenses there for fiscal 2024. They've expanded them, so they're still seeing 96 billion as the baseline, but they're now going from, they're tightening the expenses. So initially they were seeing 96 to 99 billion. Now they're seeing 96 to 98 billion. So tightening their total expenses, but expecting an operating loss there for Reality Labs. I'm also seeing Coinbase here. So they reported 28 cents per share. The estimate here is 39 cents per share, but apparently it's unclear if it compares. So that's worth noting there. They reported revenue of 1.13 billion versus estimates of 1.27 billion. So it looks like they missed across the board there for COIN, though I'm seeing unclear if compared. So maybe those estimates are not necessarily the most reliable to use there. Carvana, though, they beat. I mean, I just got this coming through here. We have earnings of 64 cents per share versus 17 expected, 3.655 billion versus 3.45 billion expected there. Sorry for all of the hullabaloo, guys. There are a lot of earnings coming through. We're trying to give you all of them. But yeah, Carvana here, nice move up on that beat. Coinbase, yeah, those numbers were correct. They did miss across the board there, guys.
Yeah, and you're not going to be able to get away with a miss on Coinbase. Not the way you remember, like Bitcoin just had that fail is the wrong word to use. You had the test of the all-time high, and we didn't actually break it out, which everybody was looking forward to when the trend reversed. You saw the disconnect that happened yesterday between the miners and MSTR, and Coinbase was a part of that, so they were not in the move in the late afternoon yesterday. Let me just pop up at 15 so you can sort of see that this was already looking relatively weak, going the test of the high on BTC, and this was in a downtrend while it was happening. So you are at $200 now on Coinbase. It's going to make it really simple for you. If it loses 200, you got the 200 period underneath it by about 17 bucks or so. So 9% now on Coin. I do feel as if it's going to be in a little bit of a no man's land if it just hangs out at this $200. Like you'll be right smack dab in the middle between support and resistance for Coinbase. But it just feels like almost everything that we're seeing, save Carvana, has been to the downside, which is like a symptom of this market. Like, is everything just, like, are we getting a little bit too complacent? Like, even Meta here had that nice bounce off the lows. You're right back in the middle. It can't seem to hold above that $580 level here on Meta. And when you take a little bit of a zoom out, this is actually kind of healthy for Meta. I'm not going to pretend that this is healthy for Carvana's move to the upside. I'm not going to pretend that that's rational. Coinbase has its own things that it's got to, I mean, Bitcoin is going to be a different story. But for Meta, Andrew, this just feels like it feels pretty healthy here. Like, I'm not panicking about this. This is not AMD down 10% when AMD was in a down channel. This is a bit different of a story here. This is a stock which just made fresh highs, had a triple top resistance at 600, and now it's just like a little bit of a pullback. So I'm not really spooked, but my next question to you is, these are all big cap earnings in here.
Yep.
You've already told us that you like IWM. Now, how does, look, there's a lot of things that they hold.
Yep.
How does earnings season matter at all to you? Do you ever look at when you're playing an ETF and say, hey, hang on a second, I have to look, this week you've got X, Y, Z, which make up, let's just say 10%, I'm just going to throw it out there, that make up a large portion of the constituents. Do you ever take that granular a look at an ETF and say, I want to time this away from the major earnings? Now, with big cap tech, you got to think about it with the Qs because obviously it's literally just the Magnificent Seven. Not so much in IWM, but have you ever played an ETF and had to put that thought in there, this is not the right time to commit because one of the top names is going to report?
I think a lot of how I position in the markets is not so much how to completely change my plan around a certain earnings, but what I will do is try to build my positions around the earnings, so if they all go according to plan or don't completely U-turn the market, then I can actually go accordingly. So something like Meta, even though all these companies missed, it still matches our thesis that, we just talked about the max ping level could be 580 underneath of this for October. You even look at a lot of the earnings trends right now, pull up CAT, pull up these other names, it's been a buy the dip earnings season. Yes. Even solar, things like that. You look at all of these, it has been buy the dip off the lows. And I think that during earnings season, you do see a lot of trends develop. I mean, you can go over earnings. It's been by the dip, at least the ones to the downside. So it doesn't really affect my thesis moving forward, especially since, unless if something goes like Meta from, 400 down to 0, of course that's going to change a plan, but in spook a market. But right now, no, I still think the better trade is to the upside into that later October to early November period.
Yeah, that's what we like to hear. And there are some, we're seeing some things on Reality Labs.
I have some more Meta, which is...
You have those numbers for Meta
yeah,
and the CapEx?
if people want these, because it's pretty rough. So they updated their CapEx guidance. So initially here, $37 billion to $40 billion for the year. They've now raised the lower end, so now they're expecting $38 billion to $40 billion for the year. I'm also reading here the outlook commentary, as it's called, from the CFO, which is not great. So we did say that they were seeing an increase there in operating losses for Reality Labs for 2024. It's apparently a meaningful increase in operating losses, which is not great. They're also here apparently continuing to expect significant CapEx growth in 2025. They expect a significant acceleration in infrastructure expense growth next year because they have to recognize higher growth and depreciation. So this is, definitely seems like more spending. Also, apparently they posted a $4.4 billion loss in the fourth quarter for Reality Labs. So Reality Labs continues to, in reality, be a little bit of a loss for Meta when it comes to having money.
Ooh, I like the pun game there, Adara. But you know what? We're just talking about buy the dip.
Yep.
Well, all you got to do is stick it in at 420, and you'll be good to go on Microsoft, apparently, because look, Microsoft is now green.
Yeah.
So, there's a perfect example right in here. I'll go to the daily chart in a quick second, but initial move fails into 420. They buy the dip. Now you're holding green on Microsoft. I was actually a little bit concerned about Microsoft not getting off that schneid, and obviously there's a lot of people that have been disappointed maybe in their ability to monetize AI, and you get into the fundamentals of what's going on with their Office suite, and some will tell you that it's going well, others would tell you that they're not really getting enough traction and users out of that. Doesn't really matter at the end of the day because A, they print money, and B, the trend is very much unbroken. Now, I would argue this is a bit of a wedge, and it's testing a high break tomorrow. What I love about situations like this is you have a very clean, obvious upward trending support, and you're forming that wedge, and I guarantee you got a few people off base on that initial move, holding out these higher lows. When you sell off like that initially on earnings, anything that can hold the top and then hold it again tomorrow at the open, I think you want to look for some continuation long. Now, obviously, you're expecting a bigger move out of Microsoft than the 1% that we got, so I know it's an inside move, but this just goes more to your point.
Yeah, exactly.
How many names here we looked at today where you got more than the expected move? I'm going to guess it's just...
It might be just Carvana. I don't think they were expecting that big of a move, no.
It's only Carvana, and then Carvana's the squeeze name.
Yeah.
Every other name. Roku's move is underneath. I'm pretty sure Coinbase's was underneath. We're expecting 9%. I don't know if they were down quite that much. Meta, Microsoft, MSTR, I don't think got more than its move.
This is definitely a continuation trade for the end of the week for me because not only do you get the IV crush out of the way, right? You get all that premium out of the market. The market maker might use tomorrow to suck out a lot of the premium, but into the end of the week, I'm definitely going to be bullish again with those large mega caps, especially since they stomached a lot of these earnings. It's like, hey, now that that's over with, we don't really have a foreseeable catalyst that's necessarily driving action as much. Of course, other than the Fed maybe, but that's here near whatever, nor there. But definitely going to continue upside on mega caps. Those match the inflation bounce theme into the end of the year.
Yeah, we talk about the inflation theme. No, and I have to say this only because here in Canada, we always readjust our mortgages every 3 to 5 years. It's not the same thing as it is in the United States. So ours just came up. And we were talking about this. So what do you think about interest rates? Did you know in the United States, mortgage rates have gone back into the highs despite the fact that, what 50 basis point cut, what 25 basis point cut that we're getting next week? Nobody cares. Rates are going high. The home builders are getting absolutely destroyed. Okay, that's an overstatement, but we almost have not talked. I don't think we talked at all about the fact that the Fed is making a move next week because of all of these earnings. And I'm going to venture to say that nobody cares about the quarter basis point cut right now.
No.
They don't.
No.
The bond market doesn't care about it.
No.
So, do we even care about the Fed next week?
No, we don't, no. But yeah, as far as especially when this goes on, what a lot of traders do, in fact, one of the strategies I employ a lot is that when you have those earnings that don't meet the expectations, when you open, you have a point of max pain where both puts and calls are down mechanically speaking, a significant amount. And when a lot of people are down, when a lot of the market is down, that is the best time to actually get into a trade for a directional trade. So oftentimes with Nvidia, things like that, post earnings, if you remember last earnings, we only went down just a couple percentage points. But at open, that was one of the best times to catch the biggest move following that because all those options premiums were down so much, and that's when they typically pivot. So continuation tomorrow for sure, yeah.
Yeah, look for that continuation play. I think that's a fantastic look. I just wanted to go over, I was about to go over the cues when you made me look at an Nvidia chart.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to make sure, I suspected, look, Nvidia went down a little bit because obviously most of the reaction has been lower. I think it's just more of a sympathy play. But the cues here are going to get a bit of a push down. Now, obviously, this is going to make sense. You had initial move down on Microsoft, even though it's come back. Meta is still trading in the red. You had Nvidia pull back on this earnings. And like we were talking about, it was really just Carvana to the upside. So you did get a fresh low on the cues. That said, we did just make another test at the high on the daily chart. So as we go over, and I do want to make sure that we're going back to some of these names, green is Microsoft, and it's only up 1%. Good news, it did make that bounce off the 420 level, so I think it got into an obvious area on the daily and then made a bit of a pullback in here to be essentially flat. You've got Meta. I don't think they like that CapEx. This was bouncing and looked like it was going to get right back above that $580 level. And then they came up with a CapEx number, and now you're failing right back underneath it. So I think that 580 is going to be a key level. Clearly, they don't like the amount of spending that's going on there, but that's fine. I still think Meta is going to work. You just have to be patient. When you're at these all-time highs, a lot of times you're going to get these pullbacks. Coinbase, different story. 10% down, so it's actually very slightly above the expected move on coin. So it's a little bit, it was expecting, I think, just over 9%. And it's just over that 9 or under that 9% mark as Coinbase headed to the downside here. I do feel like this might be a bit of a continuation. It might be a shot at a continuation under the 200 tomorrow, down here at 198 for Coinbase. And MSTR also was bleeding.
So there's another green earnings name here. There's Etsy up about almost 13%. They beat here for, or sorry, they missed for EPS. They beat on sales. 45 cents per share versus 55 expected. Sales of 662.4 million versus 652.81 million expected. Also, I was kind of communicating via Jeremy here in the chat with these Riot earnings. I was reading through their official release. So again, sometimes the estimates that different people see are different than the overall estimates being used because their consensus, they update. But basically, from what I'm seeing, based on reading their report, they reported 84.8 million in revenue. I was seeing that analysts were looking for 93 million in revenue, so that would be a miss. But that being said, revenue increased by 65% year over year. What was not as good here were their losses per share. They reported a 54-cent loss per share. That is wider than their net loss per share a year ago, which is 44 cents per share. So widening their net loss per share. For context as well, analysts were looking for a loss of 17 cents per share. So not only did they miss estimates, they widened their loss on a year-over-year basis. That is RIOT.
Riot, the miner that isn't dying. There are a couple of other names to the upside. You did have Etsy, as you were mentioning. And the theme on Etsy, at lows trending down. You don't need much to take a stock like this up a good percentage. It's just simple math. If you have been cut in half a year, then 10% is not what it was 3 months ago here for Etsy. So it is up 11% past the expected move, and it's holding on to highs. So good look for them. You also, there's another one that we got to the upside, Twilio. Twilio up 5%. This is actually, again, it's just a smaller move than expected here on Twilio. But I think it's the first name that ran into earnings. I mean, Carvana is just a bit of a different story because it's more of a squeeze name than anything else. Twilio is not a big short name. So Twilio runs into earnings and breaks it out. So while this is a smaller move than expected, this might look okay for some continuation. You got a little overhead resistance here on Twilio at 78, but holding on to these highs very nicely. You like to see that, where the algos buy it up in the aftermarket, and it just holds on to these highs. It's just chilling out at $75. So yeah, there are a few names out there that do look good. Ari Pages, whoa. Who is the new guy next to the Neelish?
Uh-oh.
Hey, this is our good friend Ari. Come on, it's Raider. We got Andrew Raider here. We've had him all day. We're gonna have you here tomorrow
and Friday,
and Friday as well. So you're here for the rest of the week.
Yep.
And we're gonna be going out having some. We're gonna have some steak tonight.
Yep. Big steaks.
I don't love the fact that you got to wear a tie and make us look like bums and everything.
Oh, I'm whipping out the drip tonight. Yep.
I see how it
got
is.
the drip. I got the drip.
Players got to play. Players got to play every single time. So, Ari, yeah, we're going to have Andrew on the rest of the week here. We're able to get his perspective. I love the macro look that you're able to give us, the options look as well. We only have a couple of minutes in here. Adair, do we have any other names that have come out here? I feel like we've covered almost everything, and I don't want to necessarily miss. I know we got to DoorDash. We've just been able to get over to Twilio. We're just able to get over to Etsy. Want to remind everybody, before we even get to our roll call, before we even get to the end, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. It's a big earnings day. You're not going to find anywhere else other than Trader TV where we're going to go live. What is the stock doing? Not just when we're trading during the day, but what is happening in the moment when the earnings are coming out. Not what we're thinking about, oh, this is what's going to happen 3 months from now. Where's the price action now? Where are the key price levels? What do you need to consider going into tomorrow? And even here, if you happen to be trading. You saw it with Meta and Microsoft bouncing off very key levels on that daily chart. So hit that like, hit that subscribe, and if you want to be in the chat, make sure to hit that subscribe. We have a subscribers-only chat. Shout out to D-Loaf. Thank you for the super chat in there. Went hood long, 23.32. Little Michael Jordan Magic Johnson, the 50 SMA on the daily and prior resistance. Sometimes I wonder, look, I am guilty 100% of putting in prices like that. If I'm trading around a quarter, I like to use 22. So you're in there. It did make there you go. I mean, 23.32, that's around where it bottomed out. You got to look for those opportunities when you snag them. Right, like there is the 50-period moving average. We're talking about this with Meta. Caterpillar did something very similar to this on a dip buy on its earnings as well. So you get that dip into the 50.
Meta's
that's where you look for that bounce. Meta, same thing. Like you get that dip into prior resistance.
Ripping now.
Back above that 580.
Yep.
See, they just had to get past that. Like it was literally breaking 580 and they dropped the CapEx number. Now all of a sudden they thought better of it and it's back to green. So what goes down must come up because that's what the stock market does. Stock market does in a general sense.
Someone's always willing to buy.
Well, I mean, that's the truth.
If it's at zero, I'm willing to buy. If it's free, I'm taking it.
I have one. Here's the thing. If Meta is ever at zero, we got bigger fish to fry. Yeah. I'm worried about where's the shotgun at and that kind of a thing.
We're getting the food, the can of beans. We're getting all that out. Yep.
Well, I don't mind beans on a regular day. I mean, I was a student once.
Beans.
I was a student once.
You like the baked beans, the cafeteria baked beans? I could never stomach those.
When I was in university, I ate a lot of pork and beans. I'm not gonna lie. I needed the protein, and it was cheap, and I had no money. So it is what it is, man. You gotta do it. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Gotta lock in.
Sardines, tuna, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Darren, any last notes here?
Yeah, I wanted to get there into TDoc earnings because Nicole Harris was asking. I'm not seeing how these compare to estimates, but I'll tell you from their report, I love this TDoc report, tells you exactly how things are year over year. So, third quarter revenue, $640.5 million. That is a 3% decrease year over year. Net loss this year of $33.3 million, which translates to a loss of 19 cents per share. Now, their adjusted EBITDA here, down 6% year over year. That's $83.3 million. They did, however, have a 2% increase year over year on their integrated care segment, but their better health segment was down 10% year over year. I'm not seeing how that compares to estimates, unfortunately, but that is the situation here with TDOC. Also, someone was asking about Airbnb. They don't actually report until Thursday, Airbnb. Looks like they're moving in sympathy with BKNG, which did actually report tonight, Booking Holdings. And Booking, they beat there in revenue and EPS, so it looks like a nice sympathy play for ABNB.
Great look there, Adara. Look how quickly she gets all the numbers to everybody. Make sure we give a big shout out to Adara for getting all of those earnings names. I feel like there was a dozen major earnings names we had tonight. You're talking about this week is the Super Bowl, and tomorrow we're going to get Amazon. We got Apple as well. Today, Meta and Microsoft. Love that bounce in both of them. That's what you want to see have happen here. Big shout out to Andrew. Thank you for joining us on the Aftermarket recap show in here today. So throw those ones, everybody, in the chat. But you know what else you got to do? This is that moment where we try to give thanks to the entire team and shout out everybody in our community. So before we get to the roll call, you got to get your name in the chat. To get your name in the chat, you got to be a subscriber. So hit that subscribe, throw your name in the chat, throw some ones in there.
Doesn't hit the like and subscribe button.
That's who I should have.
Pity fool.
I pity the fool who doesn't dress up for Halloween tomorrow. That's the other thing as well. So I want to give a big shout out to Brennan and Sean on the desk over there. We got Sharif. Great job on the midday as well with Satya.
Brendan's at the desk.
On the ones and twos, we've got Fabian. Ramin's out of here. I want to thank Andre for all the work he does and all the socials we have out there. Obviously, fantastic job all day long here today. I want to thank you for that. And Andrew, we appreciate you coming on through. We got him for the rest of the week. We got the Raider Trader.
I will also say, how about this? Everyone who's spamming in chat right now, spam Neil is awesome and tweet at me, Neil is awesome. I will be picking one of you to send $100 to, okay? Neil is awesome. In the chat, you have to tweet at me at X, at RaiderTrader101. I will be randomly picking one of you when I walk out of my desk to send you $100. So,
Bears versus Bulls is trying to get in on that action right now. So shout out.
Bears and Bulls, get in there. Get your entries in, man. Get the auto clicker out.
Kind words, my friend. I appreciate that, but let's have a little bit of fun with it.
Yeah,
we appreciate it.
well.
That's what it's all about here, and everyone is welcome. But let's throw it on over to Adara. Let's get this roll call going and make sure you get that in there. We appreciate it.
I'm going to make this quick because I don't want to keep Fabian too long here, so I'll just start where I am. Mid-guard, Bears vs. Bulls, Michelle, also Rocky, Maher, we got Jeremy Newman, we have Sherrod, we have Mr. Fife, we have Frisciano, we have Dam, we have Scotty B, we have Sword, he was Ari Page, Joe Finero, Pickle Jim, they're rolling in here, guys. BGZ, Ari Pages, we have Samuel J, we have sister from another, we're moving too fast. JD, we got the other sync, Ari Pages, again, RB Sniper, Nicole Harris, J Rog, TV, we have Awad, we've got Willie Tatum, we have Adam DeLuce, we've got Vancouver Isle Guy, Alt Styles, Frank Hadley, the Big Caliber Dead, Maxworth, DJK, The Piper, Joseph Brown, Sakis Main, Juan Padilla, Sean, another Sean here, Jersey Sean, somebody, Sean, Surfer Boy, Scotty B, I'm going to end it now, but thank you guys so much for everything. Also showed it to Harry Lou in the chat asking if I traded Miss Lily. I did, took her long, 8:28 to 8:30, got out way too early. That's my take on the day. We're done here.
I'm randomly picking someone. Keep spamming. I'm going to pick someone. 5 seconds. Keep the spam. I want to see it. Spam, spam, spam. All right. 3, 2, 1, and stop right there. Right there. Who is that? Orange. Orange. Go up, 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 up. Right there. AZAD Trader.
AZAD Trader.
AZAD Trader. If your username is AZAD Trader, right? Is that it?
AZAD Trader, you got it.
AZAD Trader, tweet at me at X, at Andrew Raider 101. Send me proof that you are the owner of that account, and I'll send you $100, man.
There it is, man of his word. And shout out to Adara for that roll call.
Yeah,
because you certainly stacked the deck against her with that one, Andrew.
You did.
Came through.
That was falling down a cliff call. I mean, that was you couldn't name any of that. I mean, that was.
But you know the best part about all of this, everybody? We get to do it all again tomorrow morning. We got post-earnings bonanza. After the bell, we're going to have Amazon and Apple, so you know it's going to be a wild one. And all you got to do is tune right back in here at 8:30, where the whole team is going to be back for you with everything that's happening in this wild and crazy market. We're Trade TV Live. We'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, nice.